Hello and welcome to the WrestlePurists podcast. We are back again. Hollywood Hangman Adam Pearce is late again. Apologies for that. Please like and subscribe. But whoever's got their headphones not plugged in, please plug them in because I'm echoing. I can hear myself. But yeah, okay. So today I'm joined by the debuting Master P, Anna DeMarco, and the usual late suspect, Backup Hangman. We're going to do a bit of Dynamite talk. We're going to do a bit of just general wrestling talk, really. There hasn't been too much explosive news happening over the past 24 hours or so. So, yeah, we're just going to get right into it, to be honest. I'll start with you, Master P. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I thought Dynamite was pretty good last night. I didn't think it was like crazy good or anything. So I'm excited to get into like maybe what was really good and maybe what was like not so great or blow away. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited to talk some Stardom too a little bit if we get around to it. That should be enjoyable.
Let's
as well.
go.
That's right.
We're definitely gonna get into it. P, I'm gonna have to get used to that. P, I'm really glad you're here with us because it's a very valued addition. I want to give you the floor almost to just introduce yourself to the people in terms of what you do, because you are an esteemed member of the Wrestling Observer newsletter and the Figure 4 online service, and you cover all kinds of professional wrestling. So, Parker, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've been writing for the Observer. I do the Dynamite reports, the AEW reports. I've been doing that for almost 2 years now at this point, which is like crazy. I think I've written more AEW reviews for the website than anybody else ever, which is kind of cool. Wow. I'll just do like miscellaneous stuff too when they ask me. Like I did SmackDown a couple weeks ago, and I've done like GCW and stuff like that. The SmackDown that I reviewed was the worst reviewed SmackDown in show history, so that was kind of cool. So that was great. And then yeah, just other stuff I do. Like my big thing is I do a Joshi podcast with Scott Edwards, who's fantastic. That's on like Fight Game Media, which is kind of like a sister site to the Observer. So yeah, that's kind of my situation.
There she is.
And there's Anna.
Anna, what's up?
Anna. Hey guys, I'm back 3 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, look at that. It's a 3. Yeah. This is pretty much
excited.
Yeah, at this point, your locker is pretty much cemented in the WrestlePurists locker room. Your name, you officially have a name tag now. So your spot on the pod is pretty much yours to have whenever you want. So we're happy you're here, Anna. How are you doing
Happy
today?
to be back.
Yeah.
I'm doing great. Yeah. I just want to say that the only reason I was late to getting ready was because I was so sure that Hangman was going to be late that I didn't start getting ready until like 20 minutes ago. Because I was so sure, but I'm here now. So.
Look at this negative influence that he's having.
I was going to say, this is an insanely hilarious level of a lack of accountability. Frankly, the real reason is you're adopting my amazing habits. You're gaining some hangmanism, and so the more people that come to my side, the better it is for me, so that I get yelled at by Monty less. So this is great. I'm glad you're late too. I am here personally. Hold on a second. Something happened.
So, I do just say that I was overrated in the chat, so fuck you, but that's okay.
Oh no. We got haters.
The haters, yeah.
Same person told Hangman to buy a camera.
No.
Probably right about that one, to be honest. But yeah, man, Hangman's obviously busy, I don't know, being unprofessional yet again. So we'll start with Dynamite.
Sorry, I had to fight some robbers. No, I'm here. Should
we jump into Dynamite straight up?
Right away? You don't want to get into some of the miscellaneous stuff first, or?
Like what? Go ahead. Swing.
Go ahead. He's got a plan.
I wanted to have a 17-minute conversation on Blake Christian, and then we can maybe segue that into some discourse on like Agles Colliglin or something. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. Nah, Monty, it's your show, man. Let's whatever you want to do, man. Let's just go with it, bro.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
AEW Dynamite should probably have pulled up the show of how it happened, but we'll just go through the main highlights. To be honest, obviously the main event being Yuta and Jericho, the big Elite angle. Those I'd say were probably the two main takeaways. Even though it was a solid show, it wasn't the most, headline writing show. It wasn't the most crazy eventful like some of the Dynamites do. That's probably going to be next week. But we'll start with the main event. What did you? Quake, one of the more interesting AEW names. Kind of like the Bash of the Beach they've done in Cleveland or wherever the fuck they've done that before.
in like January or February. It was like in the winter time, and they did a Bash of the Beach.
Like beach break. Yeah.
Insane.
But yeah, I'll start with you, P. What did you think of the Wheeler Jericho #1 contenders stipulation kind of match?
I thought they had a really good match. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm like such a big fan of Jericho even now. I think like reports of his demise have been like kind of exaggerated. I think he's just like better than a lot of people give him credit for now, just because he's not prime like 2009 Jericho, or when a lot of people were like, this guy's the best wrestler in the world. He's not going to be that anymore, but I think he's fantastically entertaining in like pretty much every segment he's in, and a great wrestler on top of that. And he went back and forth with Yuta. I love how they built up and this was part, if you watch the Best of the Super Juniors, this was even better with Yuta in it, but they've built up that seatbelt cradle so well. That's how he won almost all of his matches in the Super Juniors. It's how he's been winning his matches in AEW. It's how he won at Death Before Dishonor just a couple weeks ago. And so when he got that near fall on Jericho, it was like, oh wow, he might actually win this match and be the #1 contender. So I thought that was great near fall. That was the only part where I thought Jericho was going to lose, maybe, though. Aside from that, I was like, yeah, it's going to be Jericho in that title match, and Jericho Moxley is a pay-per-view main event rematch. So I think you got to look forward to that on free TV.
Yeah, it's definitely a big match, and Jericho, he not before, especially before the Kingston feud, was getting like a lot of shit, and some of it you could say was justified, but people were definitely doing too much with it. Because everything has to be extremes on wrestling Twitter. Someone's either absolute garbage, overrated, or they're underrated, and they deserve this X, Y, and Z. So all hail Jericho, still the man. How old is Jericho now? Look, he's got
like
to be
51.
I think he's older than that, isn't he?
He turned 50.
Sounds about. I think 51 sounds right.
He was 51.
Yeah. He's still. I think. He wasn't quite in the shape he was when he first came back from his illness and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's slowly kind of but he's still the man. He's still the man. But it really was striking, like the first Eddie Kingston match on pay-per-view. Like how good of shape he was in. It was like, oh shit. Oh shit,
the match
Jericho.
itself was tremendous.
Yeah,
the match was so great. It was so awesome.
It was.
Look, man, to me, Monty, I said this to you a few weeks ago. Jericho pisses me off because he makes me look bad. Like the thing about him is, he'll kind of slip into a feud that's just not so great, and it like he really just looks dead in the water. And then I say he's dead in the water, and then he just turns around and does like something brilliant, and I'm like, fuck. And he does that more consistently than like any other active wrestler, where like it just feels like he continuously revives himself. And I'm not even talking about reinventions, like new gimmicks and names, like, all like the Painmaker and all that shit. Like, I don't really care about that. But I'm talking more so about like really just feeling like he doesn't have much to contribute as a performer, and he's spinning his wheels. And then he just rediscovers something that really works for him. And I think that it's why he has the cachet he does, to just have freedom and kind of do things his way, because he makes a lot of attempts, but more often than not, he strikes with something and it works. And the JAS stuff and the Kingston feud, and by extension Moxley and the BCC, it's been a strong program. It's pretty much been the backbone of AEW TV this year, especially in the absence now of Punk and MJF. So yeah, I'm digging all that stuff. The Yuta Jericho match was like pretty good to me. I thought it was like pretty good. Yuta's a really good athlete. He is a good worker. Jericho just knows how to do big matches. You know what I mean? So like just the late match drama of the the Walls of Jericho and just applying the submissions and that stuff. Like it's just gonna work and be really heated and stuff like that. So that was cool. I enjoyed that. The show itself, I thought Dynamite was kind of it's weird because I don't think the show was bad at all, but it kind of felt like really standard to me. You know, like segment by segment, match after match. Like it's funny, Parker. I caught up to the chat like when I got home, and like it was just really funny, like just seeing some of the stuff that was being said. And I was watching the matches personally, right? And I watched them on Discord when I got home, and I watched Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal, for example, right? And I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. And I like checked what the chat said about it, and they were like, I was seeing 4.5s, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I was like, wait,
Yeah.
it was just fine, you know?
Yeah.
And it was kind of like that throughout the whole night. Like when they gave like Matt Hardy and Christian like a 4, I was like, wait, what? But yeah, like with that said, though, I thought the show was like it was fine. It was like a standard solid show. A more quiet takeaway that I have about it that isn't talked about as much is that I thought the women's match was very encouraging. I was really into the tag match. I thought it got better and better to the point where you could make the argument, at least to me, that it was like the best wrestling match on the show. And that's not really a common thing where the women's match on AEW's Dynamite is like the best match on the show. So kudos to them.
Anna, what's your takeaway from the whole, Wheeler Yuta Jericho and kind of like an overall quick take on last night's tournament?
Yeah, I agree with Hangman. I think the women's match was really great, which is hard for me to admit because Britt Baker was a part of the match.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes against my instincts, but it was a good match. It was actually a good match. I'm the first one to admit when I'm wrong, and I was really wrong because I didn't want to see the match at all. But I'm giving more credit to Tony and to Jamie because I think they're the best in ring of the 4 of them.
Yeah.
But it was a good match. It was a good match. And I do think the time slot helped because the public was really hot for the match from the start. And not only when the match started to go, So I think everything helped and it was a good match. And I'm even happier because in Battle of the Belts it's going to be Thunder Rosa versus Jamie and not Thunder Rosa versus Britt again.
Mhm.
So I liked it. And the Yuta match, I mean, I'm a Yuta girl. I want to give a shout out to Alex and Charlie who are in the chat because we have a group chat where we just send pictures of little Yutas to each other.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So then does Wheeler Yuta get the bad bitch stand?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, he and Danny are like
they're the captains of the team.
Charts,
Got you.
Yeah,
Me-
of course.
Me, Parker, and Hollywood have a group chat like that for Shameless. So
That's great.
I really like the match. Yeah, I think they both did great.
Yeah.
I'm not really a huge fan of Jericho in this character, but I guess like the whole idea of his character is being annoying. So I guess he's doing a good job because he really annoys me. But I think it was a good match. And I agree with Parker. Also, I thought that Yuta was gonna win when he did the seatbelt cradle. I was so sure, but I think it was great. And Jericho versus Mox makes more sense. So I'm fine with
of course.
it.
On the women's match, I think one of the things that helped it, because I agreed that was like one of the better Dynamite women's matches in a while. Every Britt Baker match for like ever has just been so like heat centric in getting Rebel involved and getting Hayter involved, especially obviously in singles matches with Baker, and it usually leads right to the finish. And to me, that's just like terrible. Like I hate that in wrestling. It's not enjoyable. It's not like good heat to me. There was like a little bit of it in the middle, but the final sequence towards the finish, like this was pretty much a clean win for Hayter over Tony Storm. Getting that, it was literally just Baker was able to move out of the way of a hip attack, and Hayter hit the short arm clothesline and pinned her. And so I thought that's so much better to me. Like you can still do like heel heat with Rebel and stuff, but it doesn't have to lead straight to the finish. To me, I thought that really helped things for me.
Yeah, it was the kind of like the heat down moments of the match were kind of kept minimal, as as you said, Britt Baker kind of it's been a theme of her matches, and at times it can be really brutal. You know, like especially when a lot of that heat, especially in picture where she just snaps on a headlock, and it's just like.
Yeah.
She kind of stayed away from it for the most part. There was a little bit of it in picture, but like I said, the down, boring, heat, roll your eyes stuff was very minimal, and it was a very nice match. And the ending stretch was very good, I thought. And to be honest, I'd probably say it was my favourite match of the show. That's nothing against the other matches. For all the other matches were solid. I didn't think anything was particularly blow away, but I'd say this one popped me the most. Also, just the fact that it's definitely worth pointing out, because it seems like I'm one of the first people to point out the problems with AEW's women's division and how they're presented. It was very nice to see them, you know, in the first hour, and you know, Britt Baker, full entrances, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, man, more of this going forward, I'd hope. Jamie Hayter versus Thunder Rosa for the World Championship on Saturday, I believe, at Battle of the Belts. That's definitely better than another Britt Baker match, as Anna said. And Jamie Hayter's great, man. So it's good to see her get a important singles match like this. But yeah, man, happy with it. I am happy with it because, like I said, the AEW women's division is definitely.
A point of contention,
Yes.
a thing under heavy scrutiny regularly, something that's a bit of a work in progress, and all those things. What I want to say is, what I was kind of happy to see was that, you know, I Anna, you remember I said this a few weeks ago, like the whole Jamie Britt, like, will they break up T stuff? Like, to me, it's taken so long that, like, I mentioned how, like, I don't give a shit, and you know, it's one thing if I don't give a shit, but like if the fans don't give a shit, that's like a real problem. But it, you know, in that live crowd, like Jamie was super over, you know, and so that's an optimistic sign when it comes to the prospects of that program, because if you do the turn and they actually care about Jamie, then okay, you have something here. And frankly, if the fans care and I watch that as a viewer, it's gonna make me care. The other thing I want to say is Monty, I made the mention about how like a lot of the recent Dynamite women's matches kind of felt like when the cruiserweights would come on Raw in like 2017, where they feel like super just disconnected from the rest of the show. Like the ropes just turn purple and they just wrestle for 10 minutes, and it's like it didn't even feel like it was part of the show. It's just it's like the show paused for this thing, and you know, for whatever reason, maybe it is just the placement of the match. This felt like it was part of Dynamite. You know what I mean? It felt like it was one of the things on the show. A hilarious thing I want to point out is when I was watching this on Discord, I forgot what the card of Dynamite was. Like I didn't even remember. It's when I was just letting the matches happen and I was getting surprised by the matches. And when DMD came on the Titantron, like I said to Alexia, who I don't know if she's on the chat, I said to her, I was like, that's like a jump scare. I got like really just like scared, and I was like, God damn, I gotta watch a Britt Baker match. Fuck. And then she walks out, right? And then I said, I hate this girl. You know why? Because like she's very frustrating as a performer, right? But she's also simultaneously very attractive, and I don't like being disarmed like that. Like it really just bothers me. Like she came out and I was like, damn, but she sucks. Fuck. Like and but to her credit, Britt was better than she normally is, and it's for all the reasons Parker mentioned. It's just the match structure and the heat and that kind of stuff, and so she kind of just melded in with what everybody else is doing, and she was totally fine. So you know, there you go with that.
Yeah, I feel the same thing towards Britt, but with
Hey man,
with her
I'm
outfits.
not a simp. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, because I think her outfits are so great.
Yeah.
She has like the best years in the roster for me,
Yeah.
and it really annoys me because why, you know, why can she be bad at everything? I really like, and her outfit matching with Jamie's yesterday, I think was amazing. I really liked it. I think it was some of the best years she's ever had. Like.
You know what they look
Jamie
like?
Especially,
they look like they're about to have a trios match with Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
What they were wearing. Like, they're gonna have like a.
Do we have any predictions for any hot angles that are going to happen after or during the Hayter versus Thunder Rosa title match?
Yes. So you guys are all talking about how like you're glad it's not Rosa and Britt, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but like. That's not happening at Battle of the Belts because that's clearly going to happen like at a major show. There was a lot of teases in the match and just in the stuff leading to this, and for better or for worse, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker are clearly on a collision course for a third match. And I'm going to presume that's an all out.
Yeah.
And for me, that feels like emotional assault. And I just, they've had success in the past, but I don't want to see that again. And it feels like just harassment, and it's targeted. It's not there yet, but you know what it feels like to me? In 2016, when Charlotte and Sasha were feuding, like the matches were great, but like for me, I was like tapping out. Like I was like, bro, enough, like just enough. It felt like they were just like throwing that matchup at me like over and over again. Like I got so sick of it to the point where it didn't even matter how good the matches were. And Britt and Rosa, again, it's not at that point, but I don't really want to see that right now personally. But it does look like we're headed to that, or if not that, a three-way of some kind. So hopefully if you know what they do is maybe just a rematch with Toni Storm, and Britt and Jamie just have their match, maybe at the pay-per-view or something.
Yeah, I would argue that a little bit. I've enjoyed both of the Rosa Baker matches like a lot.
They're good.
The first one, like as much as anybody else. The second one, I was like, I really thought that was a great match, and a lot of people didn't. That's like the only great stuff that I've thought Baker has done in AEW. But at the same time, like I don't think it's been played out at all. Like maybe you could say the feuds have been, but I mean the third match in 18 months is not like. It's not crazy to me. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I do think that they'd have to do like some crazy stipulation because they've already done unsanctioned and steel cage. So, I mean, they'd have to do something crazy. What I think, like, if I was booking it, I would do a 4-way with just the four women who were in the match.
That totally works.
And even if Hayter loses, like you can say that, maybe it's like Baker tried to interfere, but she ends up like accidentally screwing Hayter or something, and so she still has a claim for it. I think a 4-way between the four could be like really good, considering a tag match was really good, and it gives Hayter an important match. It keeps Baker in the title program because AEW really likes to do that and keep Baker in the title program. I think the Storm Rosa match was kind of slapped onto Forbidden Door a little bit, and so to let them stay keep that going a little bit too would be interesting to me. So yeah, that's what I would do if I was in that situation. I also just don't know of anybody else on the roster who I'd want to like heat up for this point.
I can't think of any that's not in orbit of the TBS stuff with
exactly. That's the thing. Like maybe Athena does her challenge and then fails, and then she just decides she wants the women's title, and then it's Statlander, Cargill at the pay-per-view, something like that. But that'd be about it.
That's the thing. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was gonna say that I'm quite the opposite because I didn't like any of the Britt and Rosa's matches together.
Really? You weren't a fan of the lights out match?
No, not really. I think like it was okay, but I don't think it was all that, And the Revolution match, the singles match they did without any stipulation was just awful to me. I think it was such a bad match. So I don't want to see it happen again. But a 4-way.
I forgot about the Revolution one before the steel cage.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, that was kind of ass. I can't lie.
Yeah, so I think a 4-way.
I completely forgot about it too.
And then Rosa lost, and then they
and she lost clean, which didn't make any sense. So, but okay, So I think maybe a 3-way or a 4-way because what I want to see is Tony winning the title.
Pure rules.
That would be a crime. Britt Baker trying to do pure rules.
Britt Baker wearing kick pads and like dancing up like a MMA fighter or something. Oh my god!
I want to see Tony winning the title at All Out and then go into a feud with Jamie Hayter because I think they would have great matches together. The match they had for the Owens Cup, I think was really good, and I think they can do better together. And so, but a 4-way is the way to go for me.
I feel you.
Should we jump to the big Undisputed Elite angle next, as that was clearly probably the biggest thing on the show, to be honest.
A lot was made of Hangman Page's butterfly jeans,
a choice,
Someone actually explained me the lore of that. Like, there's apparently lore to that. I don't know if you guys are caught up with Elite lore, But apparently Hangman made a social media post about him blossoming or something, and he's a butter.
Wouldn't it be whatever? That's like a
cocoon or whatever. Yeah, he's in the middle of a metamorphosis, and so the butterflies in his genes are representative of the transformations that he's making emotionally. And so him reconciling with his old friends and rediscovering the love that he's had for the Young Bucks is it's him finally becoming a butterfly again. Yeah, no, it's literally. I swear to God, I was in Discord and I'm like, why does he have butterflies in his jeans? And someone's like, you know, it was actually like based on like a social media post he made about like.
They were probably messing with you.
That's like, it sounds like parody, right? Like it sounds like...
I've never watched a second of Being the Elite.
Being the Elite? No. Yeah. They're probably gonna play like some like, you know, some song and like some sappy song. He's gonna like look in the mirror and like, you know, real dramatic.
I believe the only Being the Elite I watched was the AEW announcement one. You know, when they all check the phones. Do you remember? Anyone remember that? Like it went around on Twitter as well.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
they
about.
They all check the phones and it's like double or nothing or whatever. Like I remember watching that one. But that's I think the only one I've ever watched.
Listen.
I watched the Brody Lee one, but that's hardly counts.
I've watched every single one Being the Elite for like years now, and I don't know anything about butterflies. I don't know.
Okay. There we go.
It's crazy. We're gonna get a Tranquilo Club video where like the big capitalized spaced out aesthetic letters saying like the metamorphosis of Hangman Page and like, you know, all that. Yeah. Regarding the Elite angle, it's funny, Monty. I swear on everything. Like the people who were in the Discord can tell you, I literally predicted this angle exactly. Adam Cole comes out with the Super Elite, and I literally say something's gonna happen here. I don't know how he's gonna get there verbally, but Undisputed is probably going to turn on the Bucks and either I said either Hangman's going to make the save or Kenny's going to make the save. And I thought like maybe Kenny Omega's going to return and like, you know, reform the trio, and I literally said this. I said Hangman's going to come out. He's going to save them, but then he's also going to be emotionally conflicted about it. And he's going to stare at the Bucks and like just feel really just conflicted and fluttery, and he's going to have butterflies in his stomach, no pun intended, and they're going to like kind of be weird about it, and like, you know, there's gonna be a bunch of sexual tension, and then he's gonna ultimately like not fully go all the way with his reconciliation with like the Bucks. Like he's gonna like want to hug them, but like not hug them, and then he's gonna walk away, and then like people are gonna like, you know, make the ooh woo face on like Twitter and stuff like that about it. So, and that's what happened. You know, Hangman came out, and like at the end of it, he's looking at the Bucks, and they're like, "Hey, man," and he's like, "Hey." Hey, and like it's like, are we friends now? And it's like, kind of. I'll think about it. And he kind of when I left the ring, you know, it's cool. You know, Undisputed's on the shelf, and so if Kenny can't make the trios tournament, Hung Bucks is fine with me.
Kenny's making the trios final, bro. Like,
so then if he is,
Kenny's at All Out at least.
Like, if he is, and you know what's going to happen, right? We're going to get segments of like Kenny's going to be like, who's your real friend? Nick, Matt, is it him or is it me? And they're gonna have to choose like who's their real buddy, and it's gonna be real like, you know. So
I'm really interested to see like how Omega comes back, like what version of Omega comes back character wise, because obviously he's going to be so fucking over as soon as he comes out. It's like, do you do the heel stuff or like what do you actually do?
He pretty much left as a baby face at that point. He I don't remember the exactly how it went down because I was like, it's been 9 months since he's been.
He was all like depressed, wasn't it?
He was just broken
like and beaten up.
He was like, sorry. He was like, sorry guys, I have to take time off, and it was like, he wasn't healing anything up or anything. So he'll absolutely. It's just weird. It feels like the Bucks and Omega are like made for that trios championship.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be weird if it's not Omega, or if he comes back. Like if he comes back between now and the pay-per-view, I don't know, and he's not in that team. If it's Hangman in there, I don't know who, like what his role is coming back. Like, does he have another tag team? Does he join the Good Brothers or something like that? Or I don't know.
The devil lay in
we get a copyright strike.
Too close.
But if I can point something, I thought the angle was. I mean, it was like I didn't think it was honestly that great. Like they just kind of turned on him. Like why did they like? I mean, I guess we'll probably get answers. We'll get story time with Adam Cole or something, and he'll let us know. But there's no real reason to, right? I mean, I guess aside from Cole losing big matches, like nothing that has happened. I don't know. So that was kind of odd. And then the thing they were talking about it on Observer Radio today was just that like All Out is a month away, and we have not started this trios tournament at all. So and we don't even know who's in it. We don't know the brackets or anything, and we won't know until next Wednesday at the earliest.
Oh my god!
So they need to like get on that, because if it's a 16-team tournament, then that's
no way.
Then that's 15 matches. If it's an 18 tournament, then that's 7 matches, which is doable, but still, yeah. So and they have like easily 16 trios teams on the roster, so that's kind of odd. But yeah, I mean, they're like hardcore AEW fans who've been around from the beginning, who like eat up the elite stuff. Yeah, like big fans of this, because it's development and it ostensibly leads to Omega coming back and all that. But for me, I'm not really into that much, so it was just kind of whatever. I'm more into I'm very into the idea of the Hung Bucks as a trios team, just in terms of their wrestling.
The wrestling, yeah. Monty says it a lot. Like he talks about how like he loves the elite just as workers. You know what I mean? Like they're tremendous. But like he's not crazy about just like the elite sad boy segment type stuff. You know?
Yeah, that's always been my thing with it. Like literally, it's like as workers and stuff. Like all the fantasy booking and stuff that you do match wise, like fires me up. You know, but when it comes to the segments and stuff, like. Was it last week when like Hangman and the Bucks kind of like bumped into each other and just kind of looked at it like, what the fuck?
Happy birthday!
And that was fine as a little bit, but like social media was like, oh my god.
About the angle last night, I'm not sure what it was, but there was just something that just lacked that impact in the time, you know. So like to go to the Ricky Starks and Hobbs one, when Hobbs took Starks' head off, it was like, oh fucking shit, you know. I don't know if it was like a production, the way they produced it, cameras, whatever it was, but it's like when Cole said to Taylor, like, you're not going to make it either, or whatever he said, it was like it just didn't. I don't know, man. I think Cole and Fish were kind of like far away and had to like move towards them before they started attacking them. Like it wasn't this sudden, shocking, turn. It kind of lacked a little bit of impact for me. But as soon as it settled into the crowd all went kind of crazy for it. There's obviously that legendary, iconic image of the kid absolutely crying his eyes out.
Whatever production or camera guy caught that, they're like, that's awesome. They're going to use that forever.
Anna, what did you make of the angle?
I mean, I liked it because there's a thing for me in wrestling in every single media is that if we can see something coming, it doesn't mean that it's badly written. I think it's the contrary. I think it's well written because we can see where the story is going. So when you say like you knew what was going to happen in the angle, I think it's because they've been teasing that and they've been just sort of riding towards that, and it's done really well. So I think it was predictable, but in a good way, And I'm on,
sad boy segments.
Exactly, Peach. I love it. I said it last week. I love it. So I think it's like a fun soap opera. So I'm really into it. But the thing with the segment that I think felt a little weird was that Bobby started just hitting Nick, and Kyle just stood there. And then he did the one leg sweep to Matt, and Bobby just kept hitting Nick. And it was sort of a weird visual. But I think Adam Cole did great. And the biggest thing for me is that it felt fresh when the Undisputed Elite came back, because it was already a bit stale. And the best thing that could happen to Adam Cole had to take some time off. I'm not happy he got injured, of course, but I think he needed the time off, and it feels a little bit fresher. And I'm excited to see what they do in the tournament, because I think they're really great in trios matches. And the whole team in the tournament, I think maybe Kenny's coming back at All Out to reunite with the Elite, and they're obviously building toward a story of Adam and Kenny having a rivalry, because they never quite settled that. Even in the Indies, they never had like a singles match, I think. And they never settled that. Like Kenny took Adam out of the Elite, out of Bullet Club, and then Adam just went to WWE. So they never started that. Yeah. And when he came back, he joined the Elite, and the last segment where he tells Kenny like, "Don't worry, cleaner. I got this." Yeah. And Kenny was just like a little bit weirded out. So I think they're definitely going to do a story with them, and I'm really excited for it. Yeah.
It's funny because when Cole goes, "Don't worry, cleaner, I got this," because I actually just went back and rewatched this like 2 days ago. Cole says, "Don't worry, cleaner, I got this," and Kenny was like, "Oh, I was talking to Nick and Matt." And then they were like, oh man, never mind. Like, and so,
but the thing also, like, I think the turn made sense because you guys don't watch me in the Elite, but last week they showed Adam Cole watching that segment where Matt and Nick wish Hangman happy birthday. So
oh my god,
he was watching it. Yeah, he was watching it. Sort of. And
what was his reaction
about loyalty? Yeah, he was just like watching it in silence, with just watching
in the
it.
dark.
I don't know what he was thinking, but there's the whole thing. Like, he was in a rivalry with Hangman, he lost to Hangman, and then he see like his two friends, the people that he went to AEW for, just being friends with the guy that he doesn't like. There's I understand the conflicting feelings. I think they'll do other promos, they'll explain it better.
Yeah,
but I liked it. Yeah, and I'm really excited for this Adam Cole run because I think he hasn't been hitting his stride for a while now, and I think he's gonna have a great turn now. He made a little kid cry, so no.
That shot of that kid crying was so hilarious.
It was so great.
It's so funny. I was like, this kid's really fucking distraught by this. It's crazy. Yeah.
Where do we think this is? I'm trying to piece it together now, like as we're going along, but it's like, I guess we're probably looking at Hangman and Bucks in the tournament, and Kenny Omega returns at All Out to kind of cause the confliction between the Bucks and the stuff like that. That's kind of my guess at the moment. Where are you guys kind of sitting with it?
I could see that. The thing is, Arthur Ashe is like a few weeks after the show, and you have to set up something that immediately segues to a big match at Arthur Ashe. You know what I mean? And to me, like Arthur Ashe, that feels like a setting for, I don't know, Omega and the Bucks versus Undisputed or something. So I don't mind that outcome. It's just then do we prolong like the Undisputed versus the Elite until Full Gear? Like, where do we like, what dates do we put on these destinations? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, again, Hung Bucks being the trios champions and Kenny returning and just making things awkward at the pay-per-view, that's a very realistic outcome. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I obviously, like, what I really want is for Kenny to be able to wrestle at the show, but if he can, or if there's just not enough time, then so be it. So I could see it going in so many different directions, Anna.
I think Kenny versus Adam is a good match for Arthur Ashe. The Grand Slam. I think it's a good match. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know, because the thing is that if Kenny is back to team with the Bucks, what is Hangman gonna do? He's gonna team with Silver and Reynolds, because then he won't be in the finals. So I don't know. Maybe he'll come out when Kenny and the Bucks win the titles and like reunite with them. I have no idea, but I think the best thing is maybe Hung Bucks winning the titles and Kenny coming back later, because he deserves a big comeback. So I think the pay-per-view is the best place.
Yeah, that was my other thought. Freebird Trios titles with four champions.
Oh my god.
My other thought is that even though it definitely looks like it, I don't know that this is a guarantee that it is going to be the Hung Bucks in that trios tournament. But it has to happen soon. Like, they have to make this choice soon, because again, it's just like time-wise, they need to get these matches done. So yeah, I think a real possibility is Paige with like Silver and Reynolds, and Omega with Omega with the Bucks, and then that's still like gives the trios champions we always expected, and maybe the Omega and the Bucks knock Paige and Silver and Reynolds out in the first round or something.
Yeah.
And then Page gets the Cole match at the pay-per-view. And the Bucks and Omega win the titles at the pay-per-view, and then Page comes out and celebrates with them or something, and then they do the big 6-man or like an 8-man or something like that at Arthur Ashe. That's like a massive match between Undisputed Era or whatever they're going to be called and the Elite at Arthur Ashe. That could be an option too.
Adam Colgoon. No, Adam Colgoon. I can't lie to you, Parker. The more you talk about this, the more I realize that it has to be Kenny in the Bucks, because Tony wasn't going to bring these titles up until Kenny's ready. You know,
that was always the plan. That it was these titles were literally made for those three, and I don't know. Like, I think that's fine. It's just, I just don't really see how they're going to do it right now is the issue. It's not because Omega's out and he's been gone for so long. If that's still the plan, I don't know how they get there right now, because they do you announce Omega ahead of time that he's coming back and you pop a rating? Do you make it a big surprise? Something like that. I don't know. I tend to think you should actually just announce his return and not do a surprise return. And say give him a big first round matchup, put them against Death Triangle in the first round of the tournament, and do that. And but I don't know. I'm not booking it. But yeah, I mean, I thought the turn was I didn't think it was anything special. I wish there had been maybe less being the Elite build for me personally and more on TV, because if you only watch TV, it didn't really make a ton of sense, other than the fact that Cole and Red Dragon are just assholes. So that's about it for me.
Yeah, and that's been a regular, I think, criticism of their storyline sometimes, where it's just the people who watch all their content and extended lore, they're the ones telling you that this is masterful, there's nuanced, complex, layered, detailed, meticulous storytelling that's just so fulfilling and emotional and all that type of stuff. But if you just watch the TV, sometimes it's it's good, but it almost feels like that's a bit hyperbole. But then, you realize that, a lot of just the little stuff of these guys' internal feelings on everything that's happening on the show is being explored on their web series. So I agree with you, Parker. I if we could, some of the, you don't have to show everything that's on Being the Elite or anything like that, but the ideas that you're communicating on that show that are clearly just really important to the narrative should be contributing, transferred over to the main show. Things like Adam Cole is pissed off that they are essentially sympathizing with a guy who's an enemy to him, and Hangman Page, and just all that type of stuff. So I agree.
Yeah, the thing, Charlie said something in the chat that I think makes a little bit sense, but I was actually thinking about it, that Adam Page gets taken out in the finals and then Kenny subbed in, he wins the match with the Bucks. Because the only thing I'm thinking about, I think they're going with Young Bucks because they're really building towards it, and it's not really AEW's thing to just build towards something and then not do it, So I don't know. And also in Being the Elite, there was this segment where Hangman was with the Dark Order, and then the Dark Order started talking about the trios titles, and Hangman basically he just said oh, you guys can do some trios within yourselves. He basically says, hey, he doesn't want to be involved, So yeah, I don't know.
A lot of law, But yeah, but let's move to the start of the show. We're kind of bouncing all around the place here, but Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal. A very controversial match in the WrestlePurists group chat.
Yeah.
It was, in my opinion, fine, It was a pretty decent match. They kind of just did a match, It was, Orange sold the leg,
I don't have much to say about the match itself, but the booking made great sense to me because Cassidy already just lost to Wardlow, so who cares if he loses again to another semi-pushed guy to set up another TNT title match? It's just that simple. And I also love, I wish, I guess they're doing it next week, but I love that Lethal, having just been in the Ric Flair retirement match, to do something with him immediately after that weekend is what you do, because he was in such a high profile position over the weekend. Obviously that doesn't compare to like AEW, but there may not be like a massive crossover audience between the two, so I appreciate that. And then I just think Lethal is just a really good solid defense for Wardlow. They'll get plenty of heat on him. Wardlow will face off with the giant dude. It'll be silly. But that was good too. So I liked that quite a bit, that aspect of it.
Do we think Wardlow could get Satnam up for a powerbomb?
Oh yeah.
Do you?
I think so. I think the question is more
so.
Satnam. Can Satnam hold himself up for?
Yeah, that's
that might be the question.
It's the turn as they're bringing them up, isn't it? Like that's
the whole thing.
That's the art, you know.
Yeah, that's like one of the real key things that I'm thinking about with this whole business is can you get up Satnam? Because otherwise, I don't really have much to say about any of this. And when it comes to Satnam in general, I have one question for AEW fans. Can we stop pretending he's good just because like he's like more mobile than Omos? Because like I remember his debut happened, right?
Who says he's good?
So Parker, like on the timeline when after he debuted, right? People were like, wow, who's Satnam better than Omos? Like Satnam is him, and it's like just because he did a crossbody, like he's just a
people were doing the whole thing like, oh, he's all right.
It's like, bro,
also, like even if he is better than Omos, and I've
that means nothing.
Not seen a whole lot of Omos, like. Yeah. That's like not a huge bar.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it literally is a huge bar to leap, but not in like a theoretical
skill. That's what I'm saying. And so it's like, honestly, when I saw the visual again of just Lethal, Sanjay, and Satnam, like one of the things I thought was just, I don't mind Lethal and stable. I don't know if this is like the right group for him, like long term. Sanjay is really, really funny and entertaining, and I think he deserves to be on TV in some capacity because he's like really he's hilarious. He's like Scrappy Doo, you know. But
oh yeah,
like he's really funny. With Jay, I don't know, and Satnam as Jay's muscle is just kind of like. It just kind of feels like what happened? Satnam is him. That's what I'm saying. People like literally believe. I mean, Satnam is him. To be fair, that's what I'm saying. He's good. See, you see what I'm saying? People, Satnam's better than Dominic.
Well, that might be true.
Maybe,
maybe.
But that's disagree. That's crazy. That's
don't put the next one up. Oh man,
Satnam is as much him as Saya Ida is her. Wow,
that's terrible.
Well, Dan is very nasty. Well, if it is the Dan, I think it is.
It is.
Look at this, bro. What is going on?
What's going on with this one? Satnam is goated. See what I'm saying, Barker? Respect Sig. See, like people
it's Jordan Hutt too.
Yeah, that
what are you talking about?
Satnam's better than FTR. Close the stream. Look, here's the thing. 1 in a billion. Oh my god. Yeah, like I'm telling you, Mark, people think Satnam is fire. Like they think he's like base. And it's the meme era we're in. It's the take culture we're in, where it's like you watch this guy who just moves around a little bit, does a crossbody, and it's like, I need to have a take on this, and it needs to be a take that like gets engagement and attention. So he's better than Omos, he's base, he's great. And it's like he's just a fine, tall person, you know, and long term as Lethal's muscle is just kind of like I don't know.
I get what you're saying with Lethal though, how maybe like this isn't the best thing for him. I'm with you there. My thought is like I think you and I are in agreement. He's just like so talented. He can be a
very good wrestler.
He can be a heel. He's fantastic in my opinion as a wrestler, and has shown it for like decades at this point. I do think as a mid-card heel, he is like as good as they get on this roster. It's weird. Like he's both simultaneously fantastic for his position, and also it's like I kind of wish he was doing more. But he's a great guy who, if Wardlow like fucking kills him on Saturday, which is probably what's going to happen, Lethal's standing in the company has not changed at all. He's not squashed or anything like that. So
he's far superior to another mid-card heel on this roster that. Every few weeks screams really loudly on the microphone and people think is a great promo.
Ethan Page.
That would be Ethan Page.
Wow.
Let's
not get nasty.
I'm gonna get nasty. I look, this guy, I don't get it. Like he every time he talks, right, all he does is like pop a blood vessel and give himself a heart attack. And I'm not saying that screaming in promos is bad. Like there's tons of great talkers in history that like they scream. But I think that sometimes we conflate screaming for being a good promo. You know, like people will just be really just angry and passionate.
Yeah,
and
passion
yelling.
is the big one. Yeah, like they can sound passionate, but that doesn't mean the content is like good.
Yeah, and with Ethan, like he'll literally just yell at the top of his lungs, and it's like, why are you yelling at me? And it's so funny with him. What made his segment so jarring personally was that like the content of it literally felt like a bootleg industry plant pipe bomb. Like this man was talking about like oh, the people cheering me right now, like you guys are like assholes too, like and then what made it funnier, it felt like the 2022 version of Dolph Ziggler's "It should have been me" promo, because like it was so funny. Ironically, he kept going, why I was like, I don't know, but why are you yelling at me? Like, why are you yelling at me? And then like then he continues, he's looking at the camera, he's going, why? And then Stokely's like awkwardly just like
that was really weird. Like did Stokely mistime himself? Like did he walk out too early? Because he just stood in there for a long time. I didn't even know how to like write that in my review. I was like
lurking.
He's standing there. I don't really, but Page doesn't know he's there. Or
funny.
It's really weird.
Ethan Page just didn't acknowledge him. Stokely just walked out the ramp, got into the ring, and just stood there. And Ethan Page just didn't notice at all.
And he's just standing like, I'm gonna let you get your shit off, bro. But the shit that he's getting off was just screaming, why? I'm like, why? What, bro? He's like, why am I not on TV? I'm like, you're kind of boring. Like, I don't know. Like, what,
I don't know. What have you done? Have you won a match? I don't.
Yeah, it's why am I not on TV? And he's turning around like, because I deserve more. And literally, I swear to God, like I know it's kayfabe, obviously, but like I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, let's run through people that Ethan Page is better than on AEW. And then like I had like 5 people, and it was just like, okay, like dude, I'm talking about like out of people that are like featured on television, you know what I mean? Not like Serpentico, but like it's like it was just so funny. And in my head, I'm like, bro, you know what the pipe bomb is to me, Monty? It's like the Watchmen comic book or seminal works of literature or movies in that it's regularly imitated by people that fundamentally misunderstand why it's great. And the pipe bomb isn't great because Punk was bitching about his spot. Like, I mean, that's what he was doing. But that's not why it was great. It was great because it changed pro wrestling. It's great because it was the first domino in just a change in business model, change in how fans perceived wrestling on a mainstream stage with WWE. It led to so many new types of people being featured. It was a change of pace for CM Punk's character and all kinds of other stuff, right? Like, so people literally just taking the template and just bitching about their spot on television. That's not inherently a good promo, and it's done so much now that it's like kind of grating. It literally just feels like Twitter venting on a microphone. And it's one thing if you're MJF and you're doing it, right? Because he's a sensational talker. He is genuinely one of the best young talents on the show. He's super special. When he did it, the way he did it, it was like chilling, and it's like, oh my God, like it was like the biggest talking point of the show. But then when we follow that up 2 months later with Ethan Page taking the same thing and just going, why? It's like, bro, stop yelling at me, bro. I don't know. You're okay. Like, goddamn.
Well, and also just like in kayfabe, it like doesn't make sense to like complain about your spot. Like, you just have to win wrestling matches.
I didn't actually think,
and he's not winning. Like,
I didn't actually think the Ethan Page promo itself was that offensive, to be honest. You know, it was a lot of shouting, but you know, he kind of went out there with a point, and he definitely screamed that point out. So I guess he achieved getting his message across. But at the same time, booking wise, it would have been nice to have seen, like, I don't know, maybe Ethan Page getting screwed last week or something like that, or like give it a bit of meat. So like, why is Ethan Page out here? Not just smash cut into the ring and you've got Ethan Page. Like, it's like, why the fuck's Ethan Page here? And he's got these these things he wants to vent about, and it's like, okay, like Hollywood said, it's like, okay, why are you shouting at me, sort of thing. And it's like I said, it would have been better if it had a bit more like context added to it, and we kind of had a reason for why he'd be out there instead of just this random mid-card heel just screaming at the top of his lungs just so they can do the angle where Stokely recruits him. Obviously, they didn't mention American Top Team either, which was like...
Yeah. Yes! I have a genuine question. What happened to American Top Team?
I don't know.
I think Dan Lambert's cut.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
Dan
think
Lambert
Dan
might
Lambert's
be-
on it.
He might be done.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
We'll see.
Like there's no Scorpio. Like that was such a disaster. That whole like
That whole
that
stable.
killed Scorpio. That TNT title deal with
Oh
Guevara
my
and-
With
god.
Sammy.
like that straight up killed Scorpio Sky as an on-ring talent and on screen talent, I should say.
Bro,
it's just
he-
like
He like turned face and heel and then like, he turned heel, face, and then heel.
Yeah.
Like it was just so strange. Yeah.
in hindsight, like one of the worst like extended storylines they've ever done, without a doubt.
It's
It didn't make
crazy as
sense.
well. It's crazy in the sense as well, because when you pitch the idea, like, oh, we're going to get the best UFC gym team in American Top Team to get involved with AEW, and we're going to make a stable. And we've got Dan Lambert, who's got experience in professional wrestling, who can, he can talk, like, maybe the content is whatever, but he can confidently talk to a crowd, you know what I mean? As an idea, as a pitch, it sounds like pretty foolproof. But when it was in motion, it was like, it had very, very, very limited peaks, and there was quite a lot of lows, especially with the segments. So yeah, in hindsight, it has been a very weird time. Dan Lambert's American Top Team in AEW, but it does, even though it hasn't been reported or confirmed anyway, it does feel like Lambert is kind of quietly slipped away. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. I do want to point out, like,
Wait, Monty, let me stop you before you switch gears. I just want to point out, like, I want to get this off now since I don't know when I'm going to get the chance to again. Tony Khan's just stable making is so strange. Like, it is so jarring to me, like in my brain, because like I like stables with a unifying ethos, a unifying style, look, direction. That's why 1997 Heart Foundation is super cool. They're all from the dungeon. They all wear pink and black. They have matching jackets. I get it. DX, it's a bunch of just sophomoric dipshits wearing the same outfit. Sure. Fucking whatever. The Shield have matching outfits. Whatever. Like, at least match physically. Tony will take the most random people who wrestle nothing alike or have nothing in common and just like literally go like you, and you. Just meld together, and it's like sometimes it works and works out. Like the Acclaimed was like it was a perfect storm because they were just two dark talents.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's just so strange to me. Like Tully Blanchard Enterprises in its final iteration was a Ghanaian mogul, this big guy who just does moves, an underwear model with dreads. A short black technical wrestler and a Samoan, and like visually, like there's nothing visually there that just unites them, I guess. So it just looks like a group of people, like just random people. And now unless it's a Bobby Heenan thing where Stokely is just a whore for his services and is just individually with so many different people, it's looking like we're heading towards a Stokely Hathaway male stable. And like, to me, it's like, what unifies Ethan Page, Screaming Ethan, and Tiger Style Lee Moriarty? Is Lee just going to start yelling too? Like, is that the thing? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just antiquated in my thinking, but it just doesn't make sense in my old man brain. So I'm just curious because apparently Stokely made a social media post saying that 2 more people are coming. So I just wonder who they are and what's going to be the unifying thing here. So I just wanted to toss that out there.
Jordan's comment. Tully Stable was Tully Stable was the funniest assortment of humans since the HFO.
Exactly.
Which is, fair.
I'm saying. I just don't get it, But that I just wanted to toss that out because it's just, it's weird.
I did want to point out, because sometimes it kind of gets looked over how mind-numbing it can be, but the pacing of this show was definitely a lot more easy to. I'm not the biggest fan of people saying easy to watch, easy to digest, but the use of replays,
as if sitting in a chair and just watching something isn't easy.
I know, yeah, that's always my thing.
This is so difficult.
There were a ton of video packages on this show. I noted that in my report. There was like 10. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot, and it helped pace the show out nice. And sometimes Dynamite, especially, can be like mind numbing. It'll be like angle match, smash cut, angle match, like it's crazy. This was, like I said, it felt the pacing was a lot more. Stuff could breathe, and like I said, there was replays, which is something that they don't really do. Starks had 2 in the first hour. But yeah, also in the first hour, I just wanted to bring up the Moxley promo.
Oh yeah,
which was you know what you're going to get from Moxley, to be honest, and that was kind of that was the message of the promo as well, pretty much. He is genuinely probably the best wrestler in the world right now, especially in the States anyway, on American TV at least.
Dax Harwood.
Who was that?
You didn't hear the name? I said it. I said Dax Harwood.
Yeah, he's
he's having a good year. He's having a good year.
He's having a great year.
He's having an awesome year.
Listen, Mox is having the kind of run where he said at the start of it basically that he's going to come out and be the best wrestler in the world when he got out of rehab, and that seems like he's what he's doing. Like that is his aim. Like he's taking all the indie bookings and he's just he's giving a lot of guys, I would say Blake Christian, Tony Depp, and etc. Like he's giving them a lot in these matches so he can have great matches with them. He seems really hell bent on winning that Observer Wrestler of the Year, the PWR Wrestler of the Year. He wants all those things.
I think he's got that pretty much locked up at this point. I'd be pretty shocked if it's anybody else besides him.
My agendas can't handle that. So
what agendas do you have?
So I want Punk to win it. So if he comes back in September, I will industry plant this, and I will call Moxley a blood merchant if I have to. So what is wrong with you?
I'm the biggest Punk fan in the world. He's going to be gone for like 3-4 months. Like I don't know.
3-4 is not that, because bro, Danielson was gone that same amount of time last year. No, listen. Hey, listen.
Yeah, that's why it was dumb that people were like, "Who's the wrestler of the year?" I was like, "He was gone for a lot of the year."
It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. In sports, sometimes you can win MVP with missing a lot of games. And the way I see it, Danielson last year, he took a little bit of a break, in the middle of the year. But he was sensational in his first part of the year in the Fed, and then he was like unbelievable to a level like I've maybe never seen for a weekly TV wrestler late last year. So to me, without question, he was last year's Wrestler of the Year. And Punk
over Omega, bro.
Yeah. Yes. What the fuck?
No,
yes.
This is
what
the
are
thing
you talking about?
This is the thing with Omega. Listen, bro. When it comes to Kenny Omega, his run was very special.
Monty, stop.
He was a legitimate.
What great matches did he have before the Mania main event?
His match at Fastlane with Roman Reigns. Don't give me that look.
That wasn't before the Mania main event.
Yes, it was. No, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Fastlane.
Yes, the Fastlane.
Yeah, that was before, but I don't remember the shit about it. And he had the TV one that was a 3.5 star match.
Oh,
where's AO?
It was excellent. Yeah, I was going to get AO. Get AO, bro. Listen, Danielson had the Fastlane match with Roman. He had awesome matches on TV with Claudio Castagnoli. Sorry, Cesaro at the time.
His name's Cesaro.
Yeah, Cesaro. He had Jey Uso's like only like 4-star match. Like it was like a steel cage match like on a SmackDown. So it's not as overtly great and noticeable and sexy as like his later stuff with AEW, but it was like quietly extremely solid. And combine that with, again, just the greatest weekly TV run I've ever seen of a wrestler in AEW in late last year. Like, there's no question, bro. What did Omega do? Wrestle Moose? Wrestle Sami Callihan? Give me a break. Like, come on.
Those matches, Omega, Sami Callihan was better than any Danielson match in the Fed.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Better than the Mania main event.
Listen, I'm definitely
He's gone.
See? This is what we're dealing with children's and unprofessionals, and this is what happened. This is what happens with WrestlePurists,
We can't. Come on.
He knew he was going to lose, bro.
Yeah.
You knew it was
The
coming.
entire
You
chat
knew-
is
you
throwing
could feel
tomatoes
it.
at him.
Throwing
So.
tomatoes.
You looked
at
at the
him.
chat.
Yeah.
Mark.
Ooh.
Should we talk Stardom now that he's not here, because he's not going to be able
Yes.
to talk about that.
Yeah, we're talking about Wrestler of the Year, Saya Kamitani.
There you go. There you go.
Come
Oh, he's
on.
back.
Are we
What's going
okay
on?
now? Are we like?
Are you okay? Because you're the only one who left.
Have we sobered up? Like have we gained some sense? Like have we?
We son.
I'm gonna read my spreadsheet.
I'm very much.
Your spreadsheet. Yo, you do need to pull that back up. I need to go through your 2021 spreadsheet.
You're gonna see exactly what I just said.
I need to reassess the data here. Like I need to question. I'm gonna get my calculator out. I'm gonna make a chart. Like you know. But,
Well, no, I'm genuinely curious though. This is like, I think, a fun discussion.
Yeah.
For Monty or Anna, would you say 3 months is like being gone is like invalidating for somebody's Wrestler of the Year case, even if they're on a Wrestler of the Year level outside of that?
When someone had the year that Kenny Omega did last year, you know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it's like everything's case by case. Obviously, there's context, blah blah blah. But Omega for me last year being like, you know, it's kind of like a throwback real world champion, you know, and obviously he had the matches to go with it, and just, you know, just being like the top guy for as long as he was. So,
bro,
I'm definitely
what was your
a Danielson.
favorite spot? What was your favorite spot of Christian versus Omega at All Out?
A good match. And the match on Rampage was good as well.
Yeah,
bro.
they had a better one.
The
Pay-per-view
Rampage
main event
match-
level match on Rampage.
The Rampage match was sensational. So
Okay.
let's not get this
So is
twisted.
that again a point against Omega that he had a sensational match and a very good match?
Well, what I can tell you is
If it
that
was Danielson, it would have been 2 minutes.
no. If it was Danielson, I'll do the goofy voice. If it was Danielson, it would have been incredible.
I bet Danielson. Hold on, I wish I could mute you. If Danielson and Christian had a match for the Impact World title on
be 5 stars.
Rampage
It'd be
in
5 stars.
2022,
It'd be
there
5
was
fucking stars.
zero chance in world. Like you could do every single permutation in the entire universe of like quality of matches. It will never be as good as that Rampage match.
That's
between
insane.
Omega and
That's
Christian.
insane.
No.
Bro, hold on, wait. Time out. This dude was having like generational outings with the most random people last year. Like, what are we talking about? This guy, bro, Suzuki was literally having a fast food phoned it in United States run last year, right? Where it was just like, I'm gonna be Suzuki.
Hold on, no, hold on.
He had a great
No,
match
no,
with
no.
Suzuki. Wow,
Hold
that's
on.
so talented. Good
No,
for him.
No, wait, okay. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy on paper to a layman. It's like, oh yeah, Suzuki's a legend, so like, of course it's gonna be pretty good. But no, here's the thing,
Is that what
context
it sound
matters. No, not you, but that's still like that's people in the comments that are gonna be sheep. They're gonna echo your opinion. Yo, Parker's right. Parker's spinning because Suzuki's like a legend, and look, of course Danielson's gonna have a great match with Suzuki. But here's the thing, okay?
Fuck is this?
Parker's spinning. Like he's like going in right now.
Let's bring the tomatoes back in.
The tomatoes. No, I'm
Hit his
kidding.
ass.
Brian Danielson is the greatest wrestler I've ever seen, and it's because, dude, yeah, Suzuki in context is that's what matters, bro. Suzuki in that run, that match was great the same way Punk versus Undertaker was great at Mania, because Suzuki was not trying to do nothing. He was having a run where he's just gonna be Suzuki and just play the hits and shit. But Danielson fundamentally understands a Suzuki match and how to get as much out of it and out of the spots. And so in just the most simplistic match, like it worked on a meathead level and it was incredible. That and it's not even just that, bro. His Anthony Bowens match, which was just a random match. He had great matches with fucking like John Silver and stuff. And I know you're probably gonna scoff at that and be like, well, that makes him a Wrestler of the Year candidate. Well, yeah, god damn it, because you know what? Brian Danielson is the most versatile wrestler I've ever seen. He can do comedy, he can do strong style, he can do technical wrestling, he can be a babyface, a heel, he can be condescending, he can be earnest, he can be charming. He's the best wrestler I've ever seen. And last year, he showed all of that versatility, more so than any other wrestler, including Mr. Kenneth Omega. And I respect Tyson Smith as much as the next guy, but Tyson Smith had a match with Moose, and that match was stinky. It was caca. Danielson had no caca matches last year. I just, to me,
Well,
missing a few months
off.
Listen, missing a few months is fine if you average 35 points a game. And CM Punk, from a wrestling standpoint, maybe doesn't have as many actually he has nowhere
CM
near
Punk on your brain.
Yeah, no, Punk has nowhere near as many great matches as Mox this year. However, he's still been sensational, and he's one half of what I still think is the feud of the year with MJF. And again, I'm not saying he's wrestler of the year right now. I'm just saying if he comes back in September, let this genius, let this brilliant performer, let this master, let him work, let him cook. Let's see. You never know.
I agree with a lot of what you said as far as Danielson goes.
You should. I'm spitting.
Who he is, how great he is, etc., etc. However, I'm looking at Kenny Omega's run last year, and it's like you forget about little things as well, like the Andrade AAA match, bro.
It was stinky. It was stinky. It was fucking stinky.
Omega had a run at the start of the year where he was carrying the Good Brothers to like excellent 6-man tag matches like every single week.
Well,
hey, listen, Carl Anderson's a hooper, man.
Yeah, he was a never open weight champion.
The Ray Phoenix match.
The Insurrection match.
Oh my god! Right, look, the Phoenix match was sick. The Jungle Boy match was sick. The Christian Rampage match was sick.
Oh my god! Remember Kenny Omega and Kenta versus John Moxley and Lance Archer.
That match was so good.
That was good.
Was awesome.
That was good.
What about Matt Sydal?
But you know that was good too. But you know what else was beast? Bryan Danielson versus Jey Uso. God damn it! I'm telling you, he had a lot of sneaky. Yeah, exactly. He had a lot of sneaky random bangers. And that's not even going to be my case. My case is just what he did at the end of the year. Here's the thing. Again, if CM Punk comes back and he sells out Arthur Ashe because they shoot an angle for him and Omega facing off, and that ticket sales go from fucking 7K or whatever it is right now to 22. Yes, everybody needs to fall to their knees and let Punk do whatever he needs to do to your face. Like he's that guy. You know,
I gotta be honest. I have no idea what's going on right now. I don't know what is this discussion.
It feels like someone should throw tomato or something.
Punk and Bryan Danielson are the greatest wrestlers I've ever seen. And my agendas will continue to agenda, and I respect Jonathan Good. Jonathan Moxley on screen. But all I'm saying is Wody is not wrapped up yet. You know, Wrestler of the Year is not completely wrapped up. Tomato. Look at these sheep. Look at these sheep. This is nasty. Little smoke, you too. That's crazy. Look, man, I respect John Moxley. You know, he is having a terrific year. I just know that we have lurking legends, Devin Arthur. Okay, this is a host scaring debate. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
Yeah, when you got this guy Hollywood saying, "Let's get on our knees for Punk and let him do it."
That was horrible. That was crazy. I've never said that on a pod. I haven't said that too, like in a conversation.
Backup Hangman has lost the dressing
room. they're looking at on the monitors backstage, like, what
is going on here?
What's going on out there?
Yeah. Before we continue, Monty, with this podcast that has fallen off the rails really badly,
these are the best ones, you know?
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm having a lot of fun here. I have a mid-stream announcement for everybody. So can I get a drum roll from everyone here real quick? I have a mid-stream announcement. Come on. Drum roll. Anna, all right. Next week on the WrestlePurists podcast, this Thursday, AO will return.
Pop.
He hooping.
Yeah. So I am looking for that. Look, man, he's been ducking the smoke. He's been really afraid of me. He lost a lot of blood in our previous battle. He for all the bravado and panache and outward bombasticity from Mr. AO, it took a lot out of him to even go toe to toe with Backup Hangman on stream. And so Aussie Open, that's awesome. Aussie Open, that's like a dad joke. But no, it took a lot out of him to go back and forth with Backup Hangman, and it's why he's been recovering. You know, see, I could do this every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is nothing to me. You know, but AO, he's like recovering right now. You know, like psychologically, he's like in therapy as we speak, talking about like what I did to him verbally. and emotionally in the last podcast. And so, let's all just pray for AO and hope he can get himself to a condition where he can at least hang a couple rounds of back of Hangman next week. I'm looking forward to that. So that is my announcement. AO is coming back next Thursday.
He's the big draw, He's he draws a big house, especially the rivalry with Hollywood. It does good business,
Yeah.
You probably won't agree, but I think it's fair to say that AO went over in the first belt.
No, he didn't. He didn't go over, and he's the
Hollywood's doing the heel. Hollywood's doing the heel thing when he comes out after, and he was like, "Oh, well,
I don't lose."
He's got a neck brace on.
I got a neck brace on. Oh my god! Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So AO next week.
He's
going to draw us a big house. We decided we did have enough money in the budget to be able to bring him in again. So,
is that the narrative? He's gonna be like, Monty, open up the checkbook.
I think that your impression of him is that he never exhales. He just.
Yeah, there you go. What's left on this Dynamite that we didn't speak about? Hollywood is showing footage of how his shoulder was actually up.
I love Jamie.
Oh my god,
Jamie's so great.
He's good. He's a good lad. Good Scouse lad.
That's hilarious.
Like, I mean, the dumpster match was fine. It was fine. It was a cool little TV match. It was nothing crazy, except for I guess the dive was cool. I mean,
there was the video package about Sammy and Ty's wedding.
Yeah.
No, that was.
Oh my god,
Eddie and Sammy at the pay-per-view.
Eddie, of course, was
I hope he's pushed Sammy.
He'll be
that video was really nauseating, and obviously intentionally so. But like I was sitting there and I was like, oh my god, like this is like, am I just a hater or like am I just like opposed to people's love? But I just sat there and I was just like, God, like this is, I hate these people. But then it cuts to Eddie Kingston.
I'm opposed to their love.
Yeah, I'm just very, yeah, exactly the same. So I'm just sitting there and like this narrator is just like two lovers, like on being like just being a narrator and stuff like it's The Bachelor. But yeah, we cut to Eddie Kingston and he was just like, man, screw all this, and that was great. Really random, just Botchamania wrestle crap. So at the end of Eddie Kingston's promo, they did the WWE thing where like they awkwardly linger on the person who just spoke a little bit too long before switching segments. So like Eddie has to maintain this face for like 6 seconds after he's done talking. And so he's like, I want you at the pay-per-view. And like it's still showing him. And I'm like, please cut. This is weird. But yeah, it's super random. Botchamania actually posted it on his Twitter. It's really funny. You should check it out. Regarding the dumpster match, very spiritually similar to the one in '98 on WrestleMania 14. Not as charming because the performers involved aren't just at the level of like Mick Foley and Terry Funk, for example. Yeah, but it was fine. One thing I want to point out about it is this is the thing about AEW when it comes to like if you apply real world logic to it. We just saw like attempted murder. Like these guys were thrown in a dumpster and thrown off a stage, and like commentary was just like, oh wow, like hope they're okay. Coming up next, guys, we have a match where it was just like, wait, are they alive? Like, are we going to stretch them out? Like, what's going on? They just like, they could be potentially dead in there. And the commentator was just like, wow. Anyways, main event time. And it's just like, that's crazy. It's just like really funny to me. But yeah, I don't know.
At this point, I have no idea who is who in the gun club, so I don't know at this point. I'm too afraid to ask. I don't know who's Austin and who's Golden. I don't know.
Really, Austin?
I can't differentiate.
Yeah, Austin's the charismatic one who's shorter with the tattoos.
I can't differentiate them. I can't.
And it was funny in my Discord yesterday. Someone else was like, I don't know if it was Alexis. Someone was just like, who's Austin? I was like, how do you guys not know? Like,
I don't know.
The funny one, like.
I don't think I care enough to know, but like it was a fun match.
Yeah.
I think it was really fun that they tried closing the dumpster to throw them out on the stage,
Yeah.
and then the lid opened, and you can see
Yeah.
like their food sticking out.
That's
But it was
hilarious.
a fun match.
Yeah. I did you guys go whoa when Vince McMahon was mentioned in the rap?
I was like, beast, get him. Yeah. Listen.
Wait, Parker,
Yeah.
Gang signs and shit.
Parker, give me a bass fist pump like has like the way you
Yeah.
That messed it up.
I'm on the good side.
Gonna make you retire like Vince McMahon, and people are like, oh shit, oh my god.
He went there, guys.
Holding it
He
in
freaking went there.
He went there. Nobody. Max Caster makes you retire like Vince McMahon. Whoa.
Said nobody.
Nobody. Semicolon.
Oh man.
It's the Vince McMahon shot for me. Like it's like all this kidding.
Yeah. Not my white ass talking about Vince McMahon.
What are the shitty Twitter tweet templates are there?
Oh man. I love that it's like I seriously I did not like the Acclaimed when they started. I thought Max Caster was like really annoying.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were talented wrestlers at all. I love just how over they've gotten, and it's just like in a live setting. And you've been to AEW, right?
Yeah.
And just live, it's so fun to just like react to whatever they say, even if it's like not that crazy or anything. And Bowens is so hype when he's just like, whatever city, the Acclaimed, right? It's so great. It's just such a simple thing that that's like a WWE signature, is to have those types of things that you just like repeat a slogan enough and it gets over, and AEW doesn't quite have as much of that. And so I think to see that every once in a while is pretty cool.
Yeah, I just wanted to know your guys' thoughts, because it's one of those things in promos sometimes with like the Vince name drop, where like just saying it's supposed to be this like whoa and like it's like I just saw it and I was just like to me it was just like, okay, like he said Vince, like LOL. And like I checked Twitter and like I'm seeing like 1,000 like posts like Max Caster. He went there. It's like,
he shoots on Vince McMahon.
Shoots on Vince. It's like he didn't even say. He just said his name. He just said he retired. That's like what he did. Like he didn't even like, he's not like he said like a bar about like, I don't know, like I'm like, you're gonna have to pay more money than Vince's settlements or something. Then I'd be like, whoa, holy, he just said Vince. Holy shit! Oh my! No, he just said he retired, and I was like, okay, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, did everyone catch the Christian Cage promo with Tony when he's like, "Our Jungle Boy made it personal. I'd never make it personal."
That was hilarious.
So funny.
That was so funny. Yeah.
When Jungle Boy pulls up in the BMW, and
I
quite like that.
He
tries to commit vehicular manslaughter.
Oh my god, you beat me to
it. Wrestling.
Yeah, we both said vehicular manslaughter. This Dynamite in some ways is like a 98 Raw tribute show. Like I don't like we had like attempted just vehicular manslaughter. We had the dumpster match and stuff. We had Christian versus Matt Hardy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
We had Christian versus Matt
We
Hardy.
literally had Christian versus Matt Hardy. Like was Tony just on Peacock this week? Like what happened? Like is he just was like,
man, I like that show.
Oh my god! All we needed was just like the theme song to be "It's the beat to the mark, they join the beat." It's like a choke in the box. Like,
with all these sounds that I
have you never heard? Have you
Who are
never
you trying to impress right now?
No, nobody. Have you never seen the '98 Raw theme song?
No, I know exactly what song he was doing.
Incomprehensible, bro. Like it's just I'm also testing the capabilities of my microphone. I can't lie to you. I'm just
My phone is kicking the shit out of me right now.
What happened?
I'm trying to load up the rest of the Dynamite card, so we can kind of
I
talk
have
about
the
something.
report open. I think we've hit pretty much everything. There was Powerhouse Hobbs squash.
Yeah.
And,
Powerhouse.
and
The
that
presentation was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
it was like exactly what it needed to be. It was just like the Wardlow squashes that got him super over. That's like it as far as the main stuff.
Well, since we brought up the Hobbs thing, I thought Ricky, I don't know, man. Ricky coming out, swinging a few bombs and just getting dunked on was kind of like, okay, sort of thing for me. Obviously, Hobbs obviously being like the huge powerhouse. I guess you can kind of get away with it. Then him kind of being occupied by the referee, and it was kind of like when Starks looked away, that's when Hobbs got over on him. But still, I don't like the idea of like a babyface doing a run-in and getting shit kicked out of him. It's like it just it kind of it upsets the purists in me. Excuse my pun. But yeah, look.
It was weird. They're just so compulsive about keeping the heat until they do the match. Like they never ever let the babyface get a one up on a heel before they actually do the grudge match.
Literally never. It's like a few weeks ago when Athena and Stat, maybe, possibly. Who did Athena tag with for the squash match?
I don't remember.
Was it Willow? I think it was Willow.
Willow.
It may have been Willow. Okay, so like the babyface is Athena and Willow.
When was this? Dark Elevation Dark?
It was Rampage.
No, I think it was a Rampage like a week or two, about 2 weeks ago or something.
AEW Dark Elevation, Beach Break, Quake at the Lake. Like what show was this?
Rampage, which is, if you listen to Twitter, it's going to get cancelled soon.
No, right.
Doing a 0.11 rating.
Match.
Thank you, commenters.
It
was Willow on
Dynamite. It could have been a Dynamite. But anyways, so the babyfaces win this match, and then the heels do this like babyface like running and just kick the shit out of the babyfaces, and it was just like one of the funniest things I've ever seen on AEW television. Jade Cargill running out in almost felt like slow motion, like the way it's like so babyface. It was. So yeah, sometimes with these run-ins and angles that they do after matches, sometimes I feel like I don't want to say that they're not thought out because they are. Obviously, like Park said, like Grandmaster P said.
Grandmaster P.
Grandmaster P. It was a bit weird. So.
Grandmaster Pexe, but I don't have much to say about that.
Richie was throwing bombs as well.
Oh yeah, that's what I want to say. I did tweet about this because I care about these things, more than a normal person. But Ricky ran out, and look again. It is a lost art to, doing a babyface run in and fighting. And his fight with Hobbs looked good, and his punches looked good. He learned from the best in his master Cody Rhodes. They're both like two of the few just really good babyfaces, are just running in and being being fired up and just throwing punches and stuff. But yeah. Jade ran in, looked her dead in the eyes, took a second and beat her ass.
That's exactly what happened. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what a babyface does, But yeah. Ricky's punching and stuff looked good. But yeah, he did get beat. He did get bitched by what's this guy's fucking name? Will Hobbs. I didn't mind. I know you guys, you don't like the babyface, starting a fight and getting his ass kicked. Usually, fundamentally, that's like a problem. But Hobbs, I think he does badly need to just like look like a killer for as long as possible.
Yeah, he's just like big bad dude. Yeah.
And he just needs to look like a killer as long as possible because I thought for so long in Team Taz, even though the collection of talent was like tremendous, like him, Hook, Starks, like I love that group as a grouping. But in terms of how they were presented in the book, for the longest time they felt like Scooby-Doo villains to me. And what I meant by that is like they just like they run and they get beat up and chased away by the heels and just kind of skedaddle and be like, oh, we'll get you next time. And like they just felt like fucking bozos. So to see Hobbs like just not be a bozo and get outsmarted by like Dante Martin or some shit, to just like walk out there and just spine buster the shit out of Ricky Starks and just walk off. Like I'm fine with it. Ricky's appeal is not being like a tough guy. So like it's not like, oh man, like this killed him, so I was fine with it, and that's like the key word of Dynamite to me. Like I was fine with the show. It was a fine episode. One of the things that I didn't get, Parker, in the chat was like people were comparing it to Raw, and they were saying like oh, Raw was good, but this is the real statement show, right? And the idea of a great Dynamite like clearing Monday Night Raw is like it's obvious, right? But this isn't the show where I would like make that claim, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like Dynamite, when it's hitting on all cylinders, is like the best wrestling show on TV, like by far, and like there's nothing that's close. But like when I watched it, I was like, this isn't like a statement show. It was just kind of like a fine show that was like chugging
solid,
along for 2 hours.
decent.
There was nothing blow away, and that's the thing. Like I'm of the belief as a fan with the talent and star power that AEW has at this point. Like there's no excuse to not have at least one just blow away awesome match every single week, and most weeks we do get that. This week we didn't. So that I think limited the ceiling for me, because for me it mostly is just the wrestling. The stories are cool and they add stuff to it, but if you don't have the awesome, incredible wrestling matches, it's not going to feel like super essential to me.
Yeah, I totally get that. Because I'm a man of discourse, and I do want to throw in a bit of a spicy take here that might upset. It will upset the commenters, and that's what I'm.
He's going to say Raw's better.
He's going to say Raw was better.
What I'm going to say is that just feels like sacrilegious and extreme. So when Parker's like, are you gonna serve? No, what I'll say is like AEW has the advantage when it comes to vibes, atmosphere, aesthetic, just energy. It's more pleasant to sit through, I guess, just naturally. But with that said, I do think the shows were comparable. I do think they were fairly comparable, including from a wrestling standpoint. I actually think like it was just a lot of 3-star range wrestling between both shows.
Yes,
which for a Raw,
I thought so too. Yep.
Which for a Raw is like that's a great week, but for a Dynamite that's like a bit of a down week. You know what I mean? Like so yeah. And with that being the case. I do want to segue now to Parker. For those listening, Parker's not a regular weekly watcher of the WWE product, for obvious reasons. But he did, But he did. The SmackDown he reviewed was the worst case match SmackDown of all time.
WWE's been really bad for a really long time.
Yeah, for a really long time. So, especially the weekly TV, like the talent will sometimes.
I watch the pay-per-views. I never ever watch TV.
Yeah. Sometimes the talent will overcome weird creative and do good things on pay-per-view because they just have to wrestle. But yeah, the TV is just not good. But Parker did check out Triple H's official clean slate Raw debut this week, and so as a non-regular viewer, Parker, what were your takeaways? What did you make of Paul Levesque's Monday Night Raw?
I liked it. I thought it was better than I even anticipated it would be based on the positive response. I think it's weird. I think the non-wrestling, because I watched the whole show. I watched everything start to finish. I actually thought the non-wrestling stuff was like, for the most part, comparably good to AEW this week. I thought Becky Lynch had a great promo, and I thought the Bayley stable stuff all show was really well done, and they come across as a really big deal and sort of like a wild card that can attack at any time. And that's actually like the one big thing I think AEW could take from WWE is do more like self-contained stories within a show. Kind of like that.
Continuous throughout the episode.
Exactly. We always bring up the Punk thing earlier on the year when he had to pick a partner, and it ended up being Moxley against FTR. Like I thought that was really good. It's sort of like one of the defining Dynamite moments of the year for me. So I thought that was even better than I thought it would be. The awesome US title video package made the two triple threat matches and then the number one contender match feel like a really big deal. I thought the wrestling was still a little bit like, just generally speaking, overrated because they do so many mid-match commercial breaks that it's like it just feels very formulaic, and Dynamite feels formulaic, but somehow this felt even more formulaic, and the production just isn't as good. Like I hate the fucking camera cuts and all that. with that being said, and there was the DQ at the what I thought was the best match of the show, which was Bianca Belair and Io Sky.
Yeah, it was good.
So that was disappointing. Like AEW fucking never does DQs, and I hate DQs, and so that's a big thing for me. But I so I wasn't as like crazy high in the wrestling as a lot of people. I didn't think there was anything super blow away, but there was nothing even close to bad. The Bliss match was super short, so it didn't. It was more of an angle than anything.
Yes.
And every other match was like solid at worst.
Yes.
Going up to very good in that women's match for me, and Ciampa Styles as well. So so yeah, I thought the show overall was like a big success. If Raw is at this level, it's tough. I would need both WWE main roster shows to be pretty much at minimum this level every single week, or at least as like the baseline expectation. Obviously, they're always going to have a worse show every now and then.
Yeah.
Both Raw and SmackDown would need to be at this baseline level for me to tune in on a weekly basis.
I think that's well said. It's why for me personally, because when I was watching it, one of the things that I noticed was like, there's big improvements immediately on the mid card front. Just trying to like make that matter, and feature good wrestlers wrestling, but also like the women's stuff. Like this is like super cool, because I don't think just with roster and style and stuff like I don't think they're gonna catch up to AEW's in ring from a weekly basis, like really for the most part. But if there's anything that Raw could do that like gives me something that at a level above the other weekly American shows, it could be, depending on how you play your cards, this women's stuff. I think it's pretty cool, and I also think that there is something cool about the fact that just a women's stable versus Bianca being like the storyline of the entire show, like the fact that that's positioned that way, and like that made it like the most. I think what was the highest rated Raw in like 2.5 years. I think that's pretty cool, and that's like an optimistic sign. It means that like. It is possible for people to care about that stuff. Like they didn't tune it out or whatever. Like they were into it.
Yeah, I don't buy the idea that WWE fans are like so conditioned to just like the standard WWE product and don't care about the wrestling at all. That never held weight to me, and I felt kind of vindicated when I saw that rating this week.
Yeah, it's interesting. To me, my takeaway of the rating is that like there's like a lot of just people in the just outside of the orbit that are like I would like to watch the show. I just have no faith in it being good, so there's no point in even caring. And the new leadership was like, all right, let me see what's up here. And the fact that added amount of people was like because they did like about 400,000 more than they normally do on a good week. So that was like holy shit. Yeah. To me, Smack, like at the end of the day, I was like, this is still a 3-hour show. Like fuck, you know what I mean? And it's why like if SmackDown could be at this level, that's even better for me personally, because then it's like this level but it's shorter, but yeah, it's very interesting to hear your perspective on that, Parker. I just wanted to kind of get that. Anna, you're also not a super regular viewer. Do you agree with Parker with what he said about Raw?
Yeah, I think it was better in all fronts, because the thing with wrestling shows, weekly shows, is that I watch it for the wrestling. I want to see good wrestling matches, and WWE was just wasn't giving it to me. I think that in storylines and the way they structure the show is a little bit better than. I think it can be a little bit better than AEW at times, because I think sometimes Sonica doesn't know how to properly book the show, but the matches are so good that we don't care. But yeah, I think the matches were better, and the whole thing with the women's division, I'm really excited for it. But I think SmackDown really needs to get a better division.
Yeah. Women's wrestling, a big win for women's wrestling in America this week.
And you just look at the the 6 involved, and aside from like Bliss, I'm trying to remember who was the other one on the babyface side. Oh, Asuka. Yes. Aside from Bliss, like
hold on,
practically.
Let's not slander Alex.
Practically everybody in that segment.
He was supposed to be Becky, So
yeah, exactly. Felt on another level.
Yeah,
from like AEW, and I'm big women's wrestling advocate. Like I talk about it weekly on a podcast. I want it to be featured if it's going to be good. And this is like, I mean, WWE's for all their flaws and everything, they sort of memed this women's evolution into like an actual thing, and ended up with just like a fantastic wrestler roster of women's talent, at least on Raw.
Yeah, and then the whole thing with Triple H being in control now, I think is going to be way better, because the women's division in the Vince administration was just, so bad. They were sort of going back to the Divas era, so I wasn't really into it.
For sure.
Yeah, but they have a great roster, so the fact that Triple H could pull up EO and bring back Dakota and do that stable, that there was some news that Vince received the stable and he rejected it, right?
Yes.
So Triple H just decided to do it. The only thing they need to improve now is SmackDown. But I think if Charlotte goes back, it's already a big improvement, because Charlotte is the type of person for me that she can sort of hold a division together on her own. So I think it can help a little bit. And maybe Sasha and Naomi, I think I would love to see them with Bianca, but if they go to SmackDown, that division is clear, So.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I'd imagine, like, the hype monger in me is like, oh man, like they got this hot 6-person thing going on in Raw, throw Sasha and Naomi in that. But realistically, like the other show is kind of dire when it comes to the talent, so you kind of like need to throw them on there. Speaking of women's wrestling, though, Parker and Anna, tell me about the 5-star Grand Prix. What do I need to know? What is this? Who are the people I need to look out for? Explain it to a layman. Like what's going on, and what should I be on the lookout for?
I think you should go for it, Anna. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. The 5-star Grand Prix is a tournament in Stardom to define who's gonna be the next challenger for whatever belt the person who wins wants to. Is often the red belt, which is the main title in Stardom. And there's 2 blocks. It's sort of a similar format to the G1. Not this year because they're doing 4 blocks, but it's 2 blocks. It's points based, and this year it's
about this another real show.
The real show.
Stardom finally. Oh, okay. Stardom is over. Okay, whoa.
Okay.
God, dude, oh my God. All right. I'll take notes.
The whole lineup this year is so great. So there is not anyone that I would say like, oh, don't watch this person's matches, because everybody's having good matches. Even Mina Shirakawa, which is who I think is the weakest in the entire tournament, she had a good match. So it's really been great. I'm trying to do something on Twitter that after every single day of this 5-star Grand Prix, I post the matches that are must watch. So
nice.
I'll find those tweets again and retweet it so you guys can see it. But it's been great so far. The thing, I still think Julia's gonna win, but she lost her first 2 matches. Which was but it's been really great. I think it's been better than the G1 so far.
So
it's only been 2 days.
So it's 26 wrestlers. It's a full round robin with 2 block round robin with 26 wrestlers. So 157 matches in the tournament, including the finals. So bigger than any G1 has ever been. It is seriously the most important tournament in Joshi since the heyday of All Japan Women, in terms of the star power, the drawing power, specifically of Stardom, their meteoric rise and everything like that. So it's a huge deal when it comes to Joshi wrestling. I mean, it's like the biggest deal out there. So much so they started the tournament with 2 consecutive pay-per-views. And Jordan, I'm going to get absolutely into this right now. We had 2 pay-per-views this weekend with our 2 first nights of block action. I thought both nights had like 4 to 5 awesome matches on them, and then everything else was at least good. The tournament, like the first 2 nights, I would say probably collectively have almost as many good matches as the entire G1 has had so far, and I've watched everything of both. Big storylines are I think Anna and I are in agreement. Julia is like the by far most likely person. She's like Stardom's Naito, essentially. Somebody who was like pushed to a massive extent, almost like more so than she was ready for, but then developed into living up to that, much like Naito did. She also has a similar charisma to him, sort of more understated and sort of tweenerish than just like a pure baby face. So, and she's never won Stardom's world title, and she hasn't held a singles title since early last year, which is a big deal for somebody how they push as hard as Julia. So
yeah, and there's the whole thing that she was sort of supposed to win last year. People thought she was
Yeah.
going to win last year, and then she got injured in the middle of the tournament, and she had to leave. So there's a lot of more pressure in her this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought she was going to win it last year, but like Anna said, she had to drop out in the middle of the tournament. And then Shuri won it. Shuri has held Stardom's World Championship ever since then. After
really
beating
good.
Utami, yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's been my Stardom MVP for the year. So she's fantastic. So just like some storyline stuff from the first weekend was Mirai, who they signed in January, who came from Tokyo Joshi Pro. She has been pushed more than any wrestler outside of Julia in Stardom in like a long time. She won the Cinderella tournament, which is like their New Japan Cup essentially.
Okay.
And she's challenged for both top titles already, and those are her only pinfall losses are those title challenges.
Wow.
She beat Julia, who we just mentioned, and Mayu Iwatani clean in consecutive nights this weekend to start off the tournament. So
Julia's the best wrestler that Great Britain has ever produced.
yeah, I think she's like, what is she like? Was she born in the UK?
Yeah,
or is she
I think
like,
it's something that I remember
Yeah,
seeing it and being
her
completely
dad-
amazed by it.
I think one of her parents is like Italian, which is how she got the name. But I think like British Italian, maybe. I'm not exactly sure.
Wait.
I
Is
think
that her
she-
actual
she's-
name?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
don't
I
think
think
so.
I looked
think
it up this week.
I think she has
I
a
think
she
her
has
name
a
is
Japanese name, doesn't
Okay.
she?
yeah,
Or am I wrong?
Amy something.
It's not like
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
like Sarah Kaneda or something like that.
No, she's Japanese.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's half Japanese, half Italian. Yeah.
Oh, that's
But she was born
interesting.
in Great Britain.
Yeah, Julia's one.
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I mean,
good information from our resident Joshi loving pervert, Jordan Pot 2. The 5 stars coming home. Yeah.
5 stars coming
And
home.
there's also the whole thing that Julia used to be tag partners with Shuri, but then Shuri just sort of, I don't know if she betrayed Donna Del Mondo and she started her own
stable.
faction. Yeah. So
I
there's-
have a question about
that's a
Julia.
topic.
I remember like last year, there's a lot of discourse about just her like from an in-ring standpoint, just not quite being, because if I'm not mistaken, didn't she kind of step into the shoes of the departed God, why am I forgetting people's names?
Kagetsu?
No, was it her? I remember she stepped into someone's shoes, and there was a lot of talk about like just her from an in-ring standpoint.
Risa Hoshiki?
Yes, I think so. Look at you. I remember he's like, I know my shit, man. But yeah, and so I remember hearing a lot of talk about just her maybe not being quite up to snuff as some of the comparable talent. So I'm just curious if she's kind of I guess filled out the role, so to speak. You know.
So Julia
I think
is
so.
an Ice Ribbon original.
Yeah.
She started her career in Ice Ribbon, and
One of your favorite promotions.
In my literal favorite promotion.
Wow, there you go.
So she signed in like late 2019.
Yeah.
Immediately given like a monster push. Like she was in the she had a big feud with Hana Kimura. That was one of Hana's final big feuds.
That's when I heard about her. That's when I first heard about her.
Yeah, and then she was in the Stardom offer match at Wrestle Kingdom that last year, the first ever women's match the first ever women's match at Wrestle Kingdom, which was huge considering she'd only been with the company for a couple months. I think at the start she just wasn't. So she's not the athlete that a lot of other women are in here. She's not a flyer like Mayu Iwatani or Saya Kamitani. She's not a major powerhouse like Utami Hayashishida. She's nowhere near obviously the technical wrestler that former UFC competitor Shuri is. But what she just has a way to like get her matches over. It's pretty uncanny actually. She's incredibly physical. She'll do technical stuff. I don't think the technical stuff is that great, but she'll do like really nasty headbutts and suplexes and slaps and all this type of stuff, and just her matches just get over. She does lots of brawling too. She'll be kind of hardcore sometimes as well. So I think she easily lives up to the push at this point. She's done it.
She's so intense. I think her matches are just have such gravitas to it. I think she really started finding herself after the hair versus hair match. against Nakano that she had her head shaved, and Akira Hokuto actually done on her Dangerous Queen name, which is a big deal. So
That's
I
a
think
big
Julia really
deal.
lives up to it.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's a
it is
really
a big deal. She's a legend.
Yes, she gave her the Northern Lights bomb. It's really
That's
important.
awesome.
I think Julia, she's great. She's really great.
That's good to hear. I wanted to say, just as a broad discussion point, what I noticed is like, because I see all the Joshi discourse from the fan base, from the outside, right? And I'm not deeply following all these promotions, and I'll see people just kind of like, I won't know for sure, but it almost feels like they're being a bit try hard with their opinions sometimes when they kind of like disparage certain talents. You know what I mean? And again, I don't know for sure because I'm not watching these people. But what I do know is, and not to generalize, even in a positive way, but not to generalize, like pretty much every Joshi that's like come over to AEW, right? For example, have been like really good, like and I have a personal friend, Parker, who like he watches WWE and AEW, but he's really into Joshi wrestling, and he subscribed to Wrestle Universe, for example, right? And he keeps up with all the Joshi stuff in Wrestle Universe. And what he pointed out to me, which is kind of interesting and fascinating, was he says like the Joshi talent, they just inherently know how to perform when it comes to like getting over in like a performance dramatic character kind of way, especially like for example like TJPW. It was what he explained to me, and it's an interesting point, and I think once I heard that, it made sense to me why the Joshis are able to get over in like a Rampage or a Dynamite setting, even when they come in kind of cold, because like they just kind of inherently know like certain things to do on a human level to just like speak to somebody. And so even if you don't like know like a Riho, for example, or like
the Yuka Rio match is a perfect example. Like the
Sure.
match when the first came out wasn't a hard all, but by the end of it, they won it over and they just willed the match over because they're just so good.
Yeah, and so it's one of those things. And so like when you guys talk about like Julia, for example, and like what people were saying about her, I'm sure even at that early stage, like just not to do the comparison stuff, but I'm sure even like at that level, comparably to like the average like baseline American women's wrestler, like I'm sure she was still like a lot better than like many of them. So it's just interesting to think about, and I think clearly with just how many promotions are existing concurrently and how many of them are being highly reviewed, like especially by you, Parker, it seems like there's just a lot of talent on the scene at the moment, like enough to go around for like to sustain so many different promotions.
Yeah, there's like a ton out there. It's great. I mean, we just had from this weekend in my Discord, we watched Ibuki Hoshi versus Hikaru Shida from Ice Ribbon, which was
how's her stuff over there been, Shida?
Well, that was better than any AEW match Shida's ever had.
Wow,
it was fantastic. And keep in mind, Ibuki Hoshi's 19 years old.
Oh my god!
And there's just stuff like that. It's just kind of next level. Like I don't like the idea. It feels very like xenophobic or like a generalization to say that like Japanese wrestlers are inherently better or fundamentally more sound or anything like that, because it's like case by case basis.
100%.
But I definitely feel like the way Japanese women's wrestling structures their matches and puts everything together plays way more to the wrestlers' strengths than a lot of the stuff I see in American wrestling. I just never, so often on Dynamite, I feel like I'm watching 2 women or 4 women that are inherently talented in their own right, but it just doesn't like come together in a super effective way. Whereas there's almost never like a disastrous or like an outright bad match to me in Joshi wrestling that's being featured. And so that's kind of the difference
where the match
there.
falls apart and stuff like that midway.
Yeah, exactly.
Emi Sakura kind of talked a little bit about that when she was talking about the Thunder Rosa match with Miyu. It's just kind of like the structure thing, and it's like they weren't playing to each other's strengths, etc., etc. You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
So that's kind of what came to mind when you brought that up.
What's up, Anna?
No, I was gonna mention what Monte's saying, because I think that what Emi said is basically the mindset they have in Japan. So I think the mindset in the training is different. That's why they can have better matches in general, because they try to match their style with the other person's. They don't try to do the other person's style. And that's something that I see happening a lot in American women's wrestling, because they really try to play it up a style that maybe it's not the wrestler style or something like that. And I feel that in Japan, they really learn when they're training how to deal with every single style while still being you. That's why I like seeing matches like Azumi versus Shuri that happened this weekend. Was phenomenal, and they have completely opposite styles.
It was a high speed like 4'11" speedster who was constantly running the ropes against a former UFC fighter, and they made it work. And it was a really good
every
match.
time I see
phenomenal.
every time I see a clip of the high speed stuff in Stardom, it feels like today's version of like WCW's cruiserweights in the sense that in relation to like the rest of their product, it's just like people who are like so gifted in a way that's just different stylistically from like the rest of the show, and it's just like, holy shit, look at that. And it just shocks me that like we're still able to have that in pro wrestling, because it's like, everybody knows how to do everything now. You know what I mean? Like everybody knows how to do everything. So it's like it's why, like, for example, a cruiserweight division to me just doesn't make much sense in that, like, you could have it and it could be booked well, but the function of it is almost to blow your mind, and like it's hard to blow your mind in wrestling now in that kind of way, because everybody can do everything. So like when you have a division of people who could just work like faster and just have these frenetic just highly intricate and skilled matches like that, it's just really, really cool. And I think it's to the promotion's benefit that like people post gifs and videos of it, because it just brings up awareness. To me, I didn't know what the hell the high speed division was like 2 years ago, and then like someone mentioned it and I saw it, I'm like, maybe what, Cozy Super Kick or something like that, and it was like, oh, like what's that? And I looked it up and there you go. So good stuff there, guys. I really appreciated that breakdown. You guys are now our official Joshi correspondents of WrestlePurists. So congratulations there. I'm gonna definitely have you guys give us some updates, and I will do my part to try to keep up with the scene a bit better than I have in the last year, so that I can know what the hell you guys are talking about. But I really do appreciate that breakdown. I feel like you guys probably had good takes there. I'm gonna do really base level catch up of stuff in a week, so that I can just have stupid hot takes to counter you guys within a week. But no, actually, Azumi's not good. But in all seriousness, I appreciate the insight. I think you guys were awesome there. Monty, what else is there really to get into? Is there any news to break down? Anything?
Not really. I don't think.
Then you know what? If we don't
Blake
have
Christian.
Blake, sure.
Wow.
For those who don't know, Blake
Should we
Christian.
do an agenda conversation?
No, not an agenda conversation. What I will say is, Tony Khan has signed Blake Christian to the AEW Ring of Honor banner. It's unknown if he's tiered or if he's like officially # All Elite right now. Blake Christian to me is a he is, what's the word I want to use? He is
epitome of a guy
A blank
that doesn't
canvas.
Sure.
Yeah.
He is a suitable, fine athlete, I suppose. He's a fine person to add to the Ring of Honor roster to do things, I suppose. And so his signing isn't inherently offensive or anything like that. He's not awful. But what I will say is, and am I jumping the gun? Does Tony have something on his sleeve? Perhaps. But if we are living in a situation where Bandito is willing to sign with your promotion and you just have not gotten to do that, you just might not be him. Especially if, and I swear to God, guys, I'm telling you, if I see this guy Bandito appear on a WWE show, like I'm gonna bully Tony Khan. Like I'm just gonna bully him. Like it's like, what's wrong with you? Like literally, what is wrong with you? You're on all these radio shows talking about, oh, it's so fun what's going on now. Like the competition, like this is great. Like, yeah, it's great for the fans. And I mean, it's like, okay, that's cool, Tony. Sign Bandito. Like just sign Bandito. You know what I mean? Like stop talking. Just call this man. Again, if there's another factor involved that's causing this to not have happened, if Bandito just doesn't want to live in the United States or he's just opposed to this, then so be it. But if he's willing to sign and you just have not signed him and you allow him to slip out of your fingers and go to your competition, what is wrong with you?
He was literally in Ring of Honor Like
he was in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and he was their champion. Like I don't know.
Like
He main evented against Jonathan Gresham. You were backstage. You were there.
He's got one world champion that he doesn't even want there, and he's there.
Yeah,
and but he won't sign. Yeah, no, there's like so many. Oh, go ahead.
What's up, Andy?
No, I was gonna say that I don't have any faith in WWE bookings of luchadores because besides Rey Mysterio, like there haven't been like a single one that I think was well booked. So I don't want to see him there.
There is an absurd like to me as a fan, like okay, I'm like kind of coming from my own. Yeah, so lucha is my favorite style of wrestling. Like if there was a competent lucha promotion, that would be my favorite in the world. With that being said, I think there is like just a crazy disproportionate amount of unsigned or signed, like undersigned, if that makes sense. People who are in like Impact and stuff, who maybe deserve a higher, a taller.
Like Laredo Kid and people like that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's Bandito, there's Dragon Lee, there's Black Taurus, there's Laredo Kid, and then even guys like Aramis and Ares and Rey Horus and Flamita, but like Bandito and Flamita were like one of the best tag teams in America and Mexico.
Parker, I'm going to stop you
right
there.
Happened.
You just named a bunch of people that, from a skill standpoint, are comparable to some of the best American wrestlers on television right now, and yet they're not positioned that way.
I know, they're like these people are not meaningfully different skilled than like Ray Phoenix or Penta. Penta's got an incredible crowd connection more so than any of those guys. But in terms of just wrestling, which is by far the number one thing that gets over in AEW, like, I don't know, man. And the promotion was built on Lucha Libre. That's what the Bucks are trained in. The like fundamental part of what made the early AEW pay-per-views so notable was the Lucha Bros being involved and being in those Bucks matches.
Close your eyes and just listen to Excalibur commentate like a frenetic, Buck style AEW match. And you know what you're gonna hear? You know what you're gonna hear? Cazadora, Tijeras, Tope Suicida, Tope Congelo, Hurricane Quebrada, Pescado.
Commander's over here I'll say over here. He's over in the States currently, isn't he?
Like that you said over here. That's funny.
Commander. Oh my God! Did you guys? Keem made an interesting post, Parker, and I had a joke underneath that was like, this is kind of funny to me. It popped me. So like, have you guys heard about how like Shun Skywalker from Dragon Gate is going to be at a GCW show, right? Mm-hmm. So Parker pointed out how like GCW is getting kind of snuggly with World Wrestling Entertainment lately. Stephanie McMahon has become very cozy with Mr. Brett Lauderdale. He's inviting him to all their big shows. They're hanging out and stuff. And King was just kind of like, be wary. This could be a bit of a, try out. Parker's like, fuck. It just could you just imagine, right? If we reach a reality where Hunter just calls Brett and he's like, hey, been wanting to take a look at this guy. Can you fly out Shun Skywalker for me? I just want to give him a look, brother. I'll send you some money. You just put him on your show. I give him a look, and then I'll throw him a contract. And Brett's like, "Yeah, big bro, of course." Like that's just nasty. You know what I mean?
I hated that. Yeah. So much. I hated that a lot.
Just a man that every like cool international wrestler that shows up in GCW is literally just it's just Triple H video library. It's just tape for him to study to sign someone. Like that's just like really nasty.
And even just like getting back to like Lucha Libre and GCW, like so GCW has done a smart thing, and they've consistently booked luchadors all year. And if you watch the show,
it's the best stuff.
On balance, it is literally every show. It's the best stuff. Not only is it the best stuff, often on shows with Jon Moxley on the show, it is more over than Moxley's entrance always gets over, but like his matches and the finishes, like the just the show this past weekend had an unbelievable lucha six man tag.
I gotta check it out. I only saw the Bandito versus
it was the 6-man tag was better than the 4-way at no, it was better than it was better than the Hammerstone one, and it was better than the 4-way at Ric Flair's last match.
Really? Who was involved? Who was involved?
It was Gringo Loco, Black Taurus, and
I love Gringo Loco.
Gringo Loco is a great name.
It's a hilarious name.
It was those two, but they were against Laredo Kid, Commander, Commander and ASF, who has put a mask on
He's good.
now.
Oh, really? Does it look
yeah.
shitty? Is it like a kid's mask, or is it like actually pretty nice?
It's kind of goofy. It's not a normal lucha mask. Like you can
Oh.
see a lot of his face. I'm trying to remember who the
Oh
other
my
guy was
God.
in the match, but it was just unbelievable. The stuff that they
Gotcha.
were doing, the crazy dives they were pulling off. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, and it's like everybody likes it, unless you're one of the old school, like that's so crazy. Like, why is he standing there catching him?
Mhm.
Like, everybody likes it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's like, overall, in terms of roster building, I think that's such a missed opportunity for anybody in the States.
Yeah.
But especially a work rate promotion like AEW, like you got to sign him. You gotta
It's
get him.
not.
You know the story of
Oh,
Lucha?
the other guy was Jack Cartwheel.
No, of course. You know the story of Lucha to me in the United States, Parker? Like if you look at it historically, no matter, it's funny, this is a historically proven thing, and yet nobody learns from it. It's that historically dating back 30 years, they can just throw luchadors in a state in a show, right? And like no one knows who the hell they are. And the crowd might even be averse or even opposed to what they're about to see. And like by the end of it, like they're losing their minds. And you look to, I mean, obviously there's the famous AAA Worlds Collide show in '94 in California that got over as huge, and everybody blew, they blew everybody's mind. And like that show was so good that it got Psychosis and Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio contracts and stuff like that. Dude, Parker, I will literally fire up any random Nitro from like the Monday Night Wars era, right?
Oh yeah.
And I swear to God, literally, I watched one just the other day that had Ultimo Dragon. It had a handful of guys. Psychosis is in it, Ray's in it, and
super crazy there.
No, he wasn't in there. But there's a bunch of luchadors in it, and I kid you not, Parker. At the start of the match, the crowd is just chanting USA, which is blatant like protest of it's blatant protest of what they're seeing. Right? There's like USA. I don't want to watch this bullshit. And I kid you not, Ray does that. What is it? The West Coast, the move where like it's like a Rana pin thing. Like
the West Coast pop.
Yeah, he does that. He does that to Ultimo Dragon, and then like someone does like a tornado like off the top rope to break the pin, and then the crowd is
so
like,
awesome. Like it's so cool.
I think it was Psychosis who does the tornado to break the pin, and you just see mad like just like chubby like white dudes in the front row literally go like, whoa.
That was cool. They did that,
and literally,
this was incredible on the weekend.
It resulted in David Crockett lost his mind watching feud. David Crockett does not like. He clearly has not watched wrestling in like 4 years.
David Crockett was so good. I loved listening to him. He was great.
He was funny because you know what he feels like to me, Parker. David Crockett is Manny to me when we're watching like Attitude Era Raw on Discord. In that he's just asking about everything because he is as if like he's never seen it. And so David, like when he was watching the Machine Guns versus the American Wolves, like he's just like, so what's his strategy and like how does he win this match? Like,
this kid, Alex Shelley's a 17.
That killed me when Joe mentioned it on one of his podcasts last week.
Yeah.
When Andrade came out and Shivani's like, he's one of the toughest competitors in all of AEW, and Crockett's like, I've never seen him before.
It was weird to see Tony in a as the driver of commentary because he hasn't done that in so long. Like in AEW commentary, he just hangs out and just goes like, "Whoa, this is crazy."
I thought he did a really good job. Things. I thought,
he did.
Have we has the Purist Pod talked about Ric Flair's last match?
Very briefly. I if you want to get into it, feel free to because we didn't really get to do too much.
I was just gonna say I think we'll probably close it out pretty soon. But I just have to put over Andrade in that match.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Like he was so incredible to me in that match. Like one of the best individual performances I've seen out of a wrestler all year. Like obviously you need Lethal to be the guy who bumps all over the place for Ric Flair, and he did that well. And you need Jarrett to be the guy who gets the crazy heat, and sort of directs traffic with some of the hardcore spots and everything like that. And so he was great there too. But Andrade, knowing exactly how to set up every convoluted Flair spot, how to have perfect timing, like he knows exactly when to bring himself into the match, give Flair a break. And stay in there and keep it engaging. And when it's time to not have the attention be on him, he completely backs off and he's like, it's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
when he's like, it was like almost like meta when he's given Rick the knucks and he's trying to encourage him to get it going, just like you would if this was real, right? He was so great there, and then the elation at the very end where he's practically holding Flair up so he doesn't fall over. He's giving him the belt at the very end. He's holding his arm up. It was just like, it was awesome. I cannot put over Andrade enough as one of those performances. And the other aspect to that, and we kind of just touched on it, is like, frankly, even in 2022, luchadors, and of course Mexican Americans in general, have a reputation for being a horrible one, right? A stereotype for being either lazy or unprofessional or anything like that, unreliable, even like dumb. To
the point where it's a barrier to even getting contracts from these wrestlers, where it's just like, oh, he plays politics and this and that, and it's like, sometimes it's a bit unsubstantiated.
Yeah, everybody plays politics. It's wrestling. And so for him to be like, he was so just straight up intelligent in that match, in his timing and knowing exactly what to do in every single moment. And I just had to put him over, especially and there's like all these weird little aspects to it. Like, Flair is a lifelong Republican National Party donor. That, and I'm not saying that to be like goofy. I'm saying that to be like it's about the show. It's about the show. It's about doing what you can
being a professional
to put over Ric Flair's last match, no matter like how wacky or distasteful or unlikable of a guy he is at this point. Like, Andrade did he did the work, which I think is like what fundamentally makes wrestling so great.
And mind you, he did it, and he did it in a situation where like this guy Rick was literally dying like in the ring. Like, he literally
the brass knuckle spot is terrifying.
I'm watching Rick right after the vertical suplex, like. I thought he died because like he couldn't move. He never stood up ever again. Andrade had to like slap him awake and shake the brass knuckles into his hand. He's get up. It's literally like seeing like a guy help their senior citizen grandpa who just like fell like off a flight of stairs, and like he woke him up. I said this in the review, Parker. Like, I thought, if he had to, he was going to ball up Rick's fist for him and grab it and do the punch for him if he had to.
Exactly.
He would have done it. He would have been like,
whatever was needed.
Yeah, like he would have held him up, literally held his body with one. Do you remember, Parker, that Drake and Josh episode where that famous girl was like, out, and Drake and Josh were dragging her body around like the movie theater and shit? I thought he was going to pick up Rick and do his moves for him just to get through the match. Like, this dude, to me, people, it's not a well-received match, like, by critically, and a lot of there's a lot of negative cage match ratings. And look, if you thought it was a disaster, like, that's your prerogative. To me, there are disastrous elements of it, like the fact that Ric Flair is wrestling at like 70 whatever when he literally is in like shambolic physical condition.
Yeah, he should have never been in the ring. Like, I think that's like an objective statement.
Yeah. But with that said, it could have been way worse than it was, and the reason it wasn't, and the reason why it actually, to me, kind of came together in the last like quarter of the match, like once we got the blood and like the heat and the guitar spot and stuff like that, like the reason why it turned into a wrestling match, like, and it's a testament to literally all three of the guys wrestling around this dying man, and the one who did it in like you said, such an intelligent way was Andrade, who, yeah, man, he walked in there, probably less than ideal circumstances, probably, very dubious situation. And he just pulled it off. I don't know if you guys saw, one of the funniest things about the match to me was there's an angle where Rick's like ringside by the barricade fighting with Jarrett. And you get perfect view of Undertaker's face. And like, it's so deadpan. Like, you can see like in his face, he thinks, he's like, this is just so bad. Like, you can see in his face, like, he is just like, oh my, like he is so unmoving. And
I thought you were gonna mention the heart attack spot where he pretended to have a heart attack.
That was great, dude. He worked me so hard.
I actually believed it.
You thought he was having a heart attack?
Flair's gonna die.
I legit thought he was gonna die right there.
He caused his fist went, oh my god!
Dude, what a fucking worker till the very end. to like have something
Yes,
that could have
God.
feasibly happened. He's like,
Yes.
oh, he's like trying to do. He's not doing like a pro wrestling cell where he's like, oh,
No,
he's
no,
like,
he's like, oh, and because he's Ric Flair and he's a worker, you just know in one of his freaking podcasts a few months from now, Conrad's gonna be like, take us to a spot where you weren't standing for about 20 minutes, and you know what Rick's gonna say? Rick's gonna be like, selling, brother.
I was
just selling. I was just selling. It's like, no, you were dying. You were dying, bro. Like you were fucking dying.
I saw someone on Twitter say that like after the suplex, not long after, it's like Rick probably thought he was dead, and at the end of the match, he just kind of like he woke up.
You know he did. The funny part about it is they were gonna do it off the top, like turnbuckle, and you know they're like Lethal was like, nah, he was like,
nope, not this time.
Nah. And
Jay Lethal took one look at that man and he said like, no,
he's taking enough.
He's not gonna take
you know what it is? He communicated in his ear. He was like, "You ready, Rick?" And Rick went, and he was like, "All right." Let me
guess not.
He was like, "Yeah, let me do." And he does a really slow, soft, delayed vertical, and it still like annihilated him. Like it's still like he was just
incredible.
Like,
Crumbled, turned him into dust.
Can you believe that DDP?
That was worse than any Wardlow power bomb. That was worse than any V trigger.
Did you know that, Parker? Did you know that Rick wanted to do a dive off the top turnbuckle to the outside in this match?
Charlotte had to tell him no.
Yeah. Charlotte was like, don't do that.
Good for Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte.
I wonder what it was actually
Ric
like.
Flair got his life saved by both Charlotte and Charlotte's husband. In that.
You know, he was like, "I'm gonna do it, brother," and it's like, "Don't." Like,
I think he was like, "No, I think I'm gonna do that. I think it's important to me."
Yo, thank God Steamboat didn't take this back.
I think the pressure was on Andrade because Charlotte must talk to him before the match.
Yes.
So like, if anything happens to my dad, it's over.
You can't kill my dad, Andrade.
Literally, like he's like, bro, I got it. I got this.
You just got into the match locked in.
Yeah, exactly. That's insane, man. I was gonna say DDP is in his like mid 60s. He's not that far off from Ric Flair's age, but he looked like in great shape on the show.
He looks in such great shape. It's unbelievable.
He did a diamond cutter, popped right back up. There was no hesitation. Man, I'm in my 20s, and when I fall down, I go.
I'll just stay down here for a moment.
Yeah, and this man did a diamond cutter and got up like bang. He did his little pose. I was like, damn, bro, aren't you like
that's him though, isn't it? You know,
yeah.
DDPY.
That
to the world.
Yoga, man. It's the yoga.
It is. That's the funniest thing. He's everyone. Diamond Dallas Page, legend, can still hit the cutters. You know.
Yeah. I guess before we close up, Monty. What did I want to say?
Oh no.
Okay. No hot takes, no discourse, no agendas. I generally like everybody in this podcast today because AO's not here and Chris isn't either. So none of that. It's actually just a bit of a question because Mr. Paul Levesque, he chose to elevate Ciampa with his first chance at Raw, right? And whether you like that choice or not, I know Isra personally told me that she's not a Ciampa fan, so that choice was like nasty to her. It was just a pretty funny perspective to hear. I guess my question is, and you probably have to know. No, I'm not gonna make it brand specific because I don't even remember who's on what show. But if there's any other person you would like him to kind of pluck from obscurity and elevate to a major spot, who would be that one person for you? And you can't pick like a Drew or someone who already has like a good spot, right. I guess. Yeah. Go ahead. We'll start with Parker.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not super in tune with like WWE. I obviously know who's there.
Yes.
If I had to like, I don't know. I would love. There's sort of a half answer and then maybe a true like obscurity answer. Yeah. I think like Gunther needs to just be like Walter and be himself. Like he was so fucking over and like awesome for so long that to change that in any way is just like such a mistake to me.
Yes.
So whatever he can do, and I don't think he has to fucking get fat again or whatever. He can be shredded. Where's his boobs? Like he can still be a menace and a monster because he's got these like weird wiry arms and like giant hands and shoulders and everything too. So I would love to see him. My real obscure answer would be A-Kid, Axiom.
Oh, there you
in
go.
NXT 2.0.
Yeah.
I think is like a preternaturally gifted wrestler. At
SAT
only, like,
word.
Yeah. Okay. He's what is he? 24.
Really?
And
he's that young. Wow.
He's a kid.
And
he's
a kid because he's a
funny,
kid.
right?
He's Velveteen Dream's favorite wrestler because he's a kid. I actually saw that tweet. Everybody's face. I swear to God, I saw that tweet.
But yeah, no, seriously, I think he's just so fantastic. He can do techno stuff. He can do hard hitting stuff. He can be a high flyer. Take the fucking mask off him. Like, he's like a handsome ass guy too. Like, the only thing against him is that he's small and doesn't speak great English, and that's it.
Okay.
So I would say him.
If Murph was here, he would say Akira Tozawa.
Tozawa's great. He's one of the best.
He's sick. My answer would probably be like, I'm gonna say Tyler Bate. I think he could be like a superstar in a wrestling company. Like, genuinely, I think he like already has all the tools. I said this to Monty, and Monty said this to me. Like he's like, and it's not even a slight at like the young core of guys that AEW is pushing, like the killers as they call them. But he's like above them in terms of skill at this point. So, in my opinion. So yeah, no, I'm a big Tyler Bate guy. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Anna.
Oh God, I have so many names. First of all, just bring Pete Dunne back. I don't want no Bush thing anymore. Mustafa Ali, I just want him back on TV, and I think he did a great showing in Raw. So I think Mustafa Ali, he has to win a title soon. Also, I would bring to SmackDown Kaylee Ray, now Alba Fire. I think she could really help the division. And maybe Meiko Satomura, just take her out of NXT UK, because that thing is completely shambles right now. The whole situation with the Meiko Saray match that was supposed to happen, but then Bea Priestley,
so
fucking weak woman, come back. It was so bad. Just get Meiko out of it. I mean, imagine a Meiko Io match in WrestleMania or something. Like, they have had some of the best women's matches in history. Like in
they faced before?
Not the matches they faced together, but I mean, just like in general, they're
they're unbelievable. So I think there's a match in I think it's 2015 year-end climax in Stardom. That is one of my favorite women's matches ever. So I really like to see Meiko in the main roster if they're gonna treat her well, of course.
Interesting. That's good. Monty, do you have an answer before you take us home?
I was gonna say Tyler Bate because
they're gonna say Sheamus.
He's a local lad. Sheamus is heavily featured though, man. Obviously, I'd like to see him like genuinely treated like one of their
top two.
Maybe not top guys, but top guys like main event in regular.
Parker said, "Why not?"
If it was my promotion, he'd be my world champion in this company.
Oh my
god!
Not Austin Theory.
Cameron Grimes, maybe.
What about
Nathan Frazier? I'm trying to think NXT, to be honest.
Grayson Waller.
Grayson is better than Fury, bro.
Stacks.
Yeah.
Grayson Waller's legit better than Fury.
Stacks. Oh my God, Tony Khan's obsession with Two Dimes is very fascinating to me. Like, he really believes in this guy. Like,
is Two Dimes the worst wrestler in the world? Is he? Like, I've never seen somebody like so immediately hated by an audience. It was so good, and I was so excited because I only saw him the one time when I covered like Stand and Deliver or something like that, and I was like, hey, this guy's pretty good. I like Tony D'Angelo and the family.
The 6-person tag he was in was actually a good match. Like that. Yeah, but Cole Carter. This man Tony put him in the QT Marshall stable already on like Dark, I think. So good for him. Two Dimes is making a couple dimes, in AEW right now. So there you go.
And on that note, let's get out of here.
Man, I appreciate you guys for coming, man. I appreciate you guys for coming.
I'll go around real quick. We'll do the plugs and the outro sort of thing. P, you got anything that you'd like to plug before we get out of here?
I just Scott Edwards, who's my co-host on the 5-Star Joshi pod, he does like so much incredible stuff. So I would just say, if you're listening and you liked what we had to say about Joshi, go listen to him. And then everything Purist does, I'm not really interested in self-promoting, but anything Purist does in terms of the pods, the written stuff, anything like that, give him a follow and a read as well, or a listen.
Scott's great. A former purist. He used to do our weekly Joshi update.
Wow, look at that. We have alumni.
Then, yeah, we finally have alumni. He got the big money offer from Fightful.
Yeah, look at that.
He's doing great work over there.
So are you saying he's sold out to the Fed? Sold out.
Well, yeah, Scott's great. He's still doing all his Joshi content over at Fightful. Of course, he has his podcast with P as well, which is great, and he's just a great guy all around. So
before can I get comments in the live chat of how I did? I just want to see that. In the meantime, while everybody else does their plugs.
Yeah, Anna, anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, the only thing I have is my podcast, but it's in Portuguese. So if you want to go give it a listen, I don't know. And of course, Scott is great, and I'm not gonna say too much, but maybe I'll do something with him very soon. So.
No.
Whoa!
Just follow me on Twitter and.
This man Scott's on fire.
Another sellout.
Yeah, right. Another sellout. Listen, guys. Parker, I thought you were sensational. I'm really pissed off at how professional you were. You were like media trained for this, and it upsets me because I don't want to be the least professional person here. But in all seriousness, I thought you were tremendous. Your insight was very, very valuable and what's the word I want to use? Needed, valued. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for being white boy that's goated with the sauce. Yeah, no, Parker's one of the two cool white person people in the world. No, and P and Anna carried Hangman. Sure. I'll take it. 7 stars, P. I'll take it. Listen, I'm letting you guys carry me because I'm saving my energy for AO. You know what I'm saying? That's the big match. You know what I mean? AO next week is Parker and Anna killed it with their 5 stars. Absolutely. Listen, Anna and Parker, I appreciate both of you guys. You guys are valued members of WrestlePurists, and you can be on the podcast pretty much any time you want, frankly. And so that's just me saying that. And as the head of creative of WrestlePurists, live on the air. You guys are great. Anna, sensational as always. The insight is very welcome. Monty, you know what I mean. Keep. I appreciate you tolerating my continued lateness. The only announcements or things I want to plug is just we have a new WrestlePurist signing that will be announced to the public sooner rather than later, and so be on the lookout for that.
I don't even know about this.
Yeah. I'm pulling a Tony Khan here. Lots of surprises, Yeah, we have a new signing. We have a lot of fun things on the horizon. Maybe potentially even a Monday Night Raw review weekly. We'll see. We have an All Stars podcast coming up, which is going to be an absolute mess, but hopefully a fun one. But yeah, man, a lot of things on the horizon, a lot of things to look forward to. Hopefully me continuing to just dominate AO verbally and sending him into the hospital. And, that's all fine, well and good. Expect to see Rob and Chris soon in one of these. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate just all the feedback, all the people who support this podcast. Last week we did 3.2 thousand viewers for the Thursday pod, which is unprecedented. It's insane. And especially comparable to just a lot of other people who do wrestling podcasts. That's just crazy to me. So I just appreciate everybody. You know what I mean? You guys are so talented and insightful. And with that said, Bryan Danielson forever. CM Punk is the man. And stay dumb, guys. That's an insider right there. Yeah, that's an insider right there.
We're building a pretty good team, yeah. I think
yes, we are. We are.
Not like Hollywood said, some great talented people, and we do appreciate you very, very much. And we definitely appreciate all the viewers that tune in to watch us talk shit about wrestling, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be back either at some point on the weekend or Monday. So yeah, man, please like, subscribe, support us any way you can. It's always massively appreciated. Thank you again, P, Anna, and Hollywood, and we will be back very soon.